keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask. The sun won't ask, 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 the sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Sunlight begins to fade now, and I feel like I'm losing time, but I don't know how I'm here. The sunlight has turned to gray, and I feel like I'm losing love again. I don't know how I'm here. Feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe, and it's you I'm loving. And I know now we're getting older. The world we built is slipping through our fingers. We're running out of time. But you are the one I've chosen, and I won't lay still, living left behind, imprisoned by this love. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need.
Slow down, no. Can you feel it too? There ain't no stopping now. Feet off the ground, head to the sky. Yeah, wind by my side. You in my vision, directly we collide. You pull me in, I don't resist. Time seems to fly, but the clock doesn't tick. I crash into you, we both feel the hit. We both feel the way that our chemicals mix, and I wish that I just keep my eyes shut. Maybe this time it'll be enough. Without you here, I wouldn't never see the stars. I'm headed for you, put on the gas. I'm coming straight at you, no looking back. You are my star. We are connected, misdirected to the high. You are my star. We are connected, misdirected to the high. Then we collide. I'm here, I'm your statue. Your heart is a magnet, I'm coming at you. Girl, you're my target, I'm aiming at you. You're a comet, I'm trying to catch you. We can break any rule they ever taught you. Forget about anything they ever bought you. Cause me and you don't need a lot in this world to get by. Plus you know I got you, you pull me in. I don't resist, time seems to fly but the clock doesn't tick. I crash into you, we both feel a hit. We both feel the way that our chemicals mix. And I wish that
If I just keep my eyes shut, maybe this time you'll be enough.
so I need the dark. Without you here, I would never see the stars. I'm headed for you, foot on the gas. I'm coming straight at you, no looking back.
We are connected, missiles directed to the high. You are my sun. We are connected, missiles directed to the high.
Then we collide.
Sports Power Play.
Hello and welcome to the King of Nordic. Today I am your caster instead of Max. My name is Love, or Lovi, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I am also known as Urani on the internet. My producer is telling me to let go, to relax, to be slow. So we're gonna take it slow and smooth. And today we're gonna play King of Nordic, League of Legends. And for you that joined us just today because of maybe Vardogs is here today casting, our format is that we have one king each week, and that king for this week is Denmark, if I'm not... There we go. Yeah, we have Denmark as the king. So they will be the king of the hill. Apparently we have 2 Danish teams, which is pretty cool, I guess. No Norwegian team this week. Production? Hello? Yeah. Anyway, so in the first match you will see Finland versus Sweden, because they both suck. They will face up apparently against Denmark, but it is Norwegian. And the winner between Norwegian and the contributing team will face Denmark, which is our king. Our king is the one that won last week, and they will be performing this week again with the same team, not with a new team. The rest of the teams are a new team. Oh, never mind. Norway was our king last week. So we have Finland versus Sweden. The winner of those will face Denmark, and the winner of Denmark and the winner of Finland and Sweden will face Norway for the king of the throne. Because here in the Nordic, we are Vikings, so we kill each other. In Norden. Go Norway, Sigve, Spike, Dankel. I hope they will go, because at least then we will have a final, right? But yeah, here in the Nordic, we're Vikings, so we kill each other until the last man is standing. And that man will kill the rest until he's finished. So that is our format. We have a King of the Hill format for our League of Legends players. And we will have a roster, or are we gonna talk about the tweets? We're gonna talk about the tweets. So here we have hashtag King of Nordic or @KingofNordic. We will see a little thing here, right? Production room. Oh, never mind. We have to just do it with Chila Buff. Get featured in the show. Send us a tweet. Hashtag King of Nordic or @KingofNordic, and you will be featured in the show. We will show your tweet, unless it's offensive. We don't want that. We don't want the toxic community here. Go away. Go away, you toxic spillage. Can't wait to see tonight's show at King of Nordic or hashtag ESEN. And then we have a link. Can't show that, Johan. I'm sorry. Real sorry. Probably was porn. Now we'll have rosters. We will have our AD carry, Hayuke Masa, and I'm gonna slaughter the Finnish names, and the support Siphon with the jungle Taiki, and the top lane Sleeping, which we have seen before, and the mid lane Rene Sanga Dembo. And for the Swedish team, we have the AD carry Sampe, the support Hustling Beast with the jungle Memento. In top lane, we will have Fluxis, and the mid lane Civis. That's the name. I am slaughtering everyone's names because I'm not racist. And today's caster, as I said before, we have Vardogs, the professional player from Worlds. He was in Unicorns of Love. And we also have our less known Supreme Leader, Sang.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really feel like the underdog tonight. I mean, oh my god, it actually says Supreme Leader. Okay, so normally I would feel pretty good right here, but right now I'm sort of starstruck because I'm here with Vardogs. Pontus, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty fine. It's exciting to be here casting. It's my first time really casting a game, so I'm pretty looking forward to it.
But you have been at the analyst desk in LCS.
Yeah, I've been at the analyst desk a lot of times looking for replays, but it's
so,
gonna be a
you,
bit different.
You know the camera, you love the camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're looking good. Looking really good. Look at yourself in the camera, looking splendid. And we got a tweet, Viva la Suite. And what do you think about that?
Pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more funny tweets and people commentating on King of Nordic. And I'm actually looking forward to a lot of good games today. I mean, there's a lot of names I recognize from solo queue and so on. So I think there's potential for a lot of good games.
Yeah, I mean, these players, I mean, of course, to you, these are not the pro players. But at this level, these are actually the best you could find in each and every country in the North. So I mean, this could actually go either way. We have a lot of challenger players, and I believe that these teams actually work really well together as well. They're not just solo queue randoms, they actually have practiced a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely talent on every lineup. I look through the players on each lineup, and I mean, the Swedish one for sure. Like, I know a lot of people there, so I have a lot of expectations for their performances, so I'll judge them a lot during the casting, but I'm looking forward to watching all the games.
I actually want to talk to you about this, because I recognized Civis, I recognized Fluxish in the Swedish team. Which else names do you recognize, and how?
Well, personally, I know Flaxish. Like, he jumped in actually when I played for UL. He jumped in to play a few games for us as a stand-in when we needed him. Civis actually lost the Swedish Championship at DreamHack. I played against him in the finals, so that's where I know him from as well. I do not know Memento, but I recognize Hampe and Hustling Beast from, I don't actually know exactly where, but I do know them. Like, I recognize their names and so on.
So, I mean, I know you don't play the same roles, but Flaxish and Civis, who is better? Those guys, each individual of course, or you?
Well, obviously, I'm the top dog. No, but
this guy.
no, but both
No, that was a
Flaxish and
leading
Civis,
question.
yeah, no, but Flaxish and Civis are both really good players, and I respect them both. I think Flaxish obviously is probably the highest, like in terms of solo queue. The latter probably the highest on their team. So I'm gonna look at him a lot on his performance during the games.
And I do believe that Flaxish gets quite a lot of hype, actually. So, looking at Twitter today, I think we're gonna see a lot about Flaxish. We just saw a tweet about him right now. We got a news tweet as well. Go Sweden, no other team is even close as long as you keep focus. Henning Eklund. And actually, I know this guy. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, I know him as well.
Right?
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Pretty cool.
Coach for Team Darkstar, if I don't remember it wrong.
Incorrectly.
Incorrectly. Thank you. You said that correctly, and I actually forgot the word. So thanks for saving me.
Just when I have the ability to cut in, any comment on a new champion that is future behind you?
Oh, actually, no. Because I don't know anything about it except that she...
Comes from Japan, the
yeah,
tentacles.
she controls tentacles. Do you have anything to say about this, Pontus?
No comments.
No comment.
I don't know too much. Like, I've seen some videos about her abilities, but I don't know too much about the champion itself. So.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I mean, she looks cool, but that's about it. Can't wait to see Finland win this. Hashtag Team Finland, King of Nordic 6-1. Never forget, Gmofon General. And yeah, we got a lot of hype already for all of these teams, and I'm really looking forward to the first game. Gonna be Finland versus Sweden, so we're gonna jump right in.
Yeah.
I believe we are, so I'm just gonna tell the players to get going, and we're gonna get right into Champion Select. And so, looking for this, I mean, these teams, I said that they played a lot together, but obviously they are not on Worlds or LCS level in the team play they have. So what would you want to see in the team compositions to believe in the teams?
Well, I think in the moment, like, since we're playing on the new patch and everything, the game time in general has shortened down, so the games are quicker. So I want to see more early game focused team comps, and I want to see them focusing on early objectives, like go for team comps to snowball, go for towers early, and just go for a fast win.
And we're gonna see what's gonna happen, because we're right in Champion Select, and Lee Sin has been banned so far. Dr. Mundo actually gonna be banned from the Swedish team. And what do you believe about these two bans so far?
I mean, Lee Sin is very common. Like, most high elo junglers are very proficient in playing this champion, so I'm not surprised to see him banned. Mundo is one of the kind of newcomers. Since the last buff he received, he's actually quite good, and I think a lot of people hasn't completely realized that Mundo is really strong right now, but he's definitely getting there.
Is he getting there on the top of the other Juggernauts up top lane? I mean, Juggernaut patch was a few patches ago, but it's still very relevant for the game right now. Darius you see a lot played still. So Mundo is a new kind of Juggernaut, you believe?
Yeah, definitely. I think Mundo's kit now got a lot stronger after they buffed his E ability, which now deals some percentage damage as well on the first cast, and it also is like an animation. Gives him a lot of extra power and tradability in lane. And the rest of the bans now going through to Jax and Kindred. Fiora and Tom are like your basic bans. Jax really strong with the Rage Blade. Kindred just really strong since release. She's always played a lot in solo queue. And Fiora, we saw her Worlds. Really good performances on
absolutely.
Players like Marin and so on. And
I mean, Fiora is one of those champions that actually still can sort of solo carry a team. Of course not solo, but still she has that huge potential of going 1 versus 2, as we saw Marin in Worlds. On the other hand, Tom Kench, I believe he's one of those all-around support, or he can even go top lane actually, and just always be relevant in team fights.
Yeah, the great part about Tom is just his ability to save your teammates. Like, you can avoid getting punished for going immobile carries. Like, you can go stuff like Jinx, Ashe and so on, and when you get in trouble, Tom will just eat you and run away.
And speaking of immobile carries, I mean, this new patch has been a huge patch for ADCs, and to me, as a huge Kog'Maw nerd slash fan slash a little bit of a geek, I would say that Kog'Maw in this patch is very interesting, but actually compared to like Graves, Tristana, Caitlyn, not that strong. Or what is your take on the Yogg-Maw?
I don't really like the Kog'Maw too much. I think if he sees some play ever, it's probably going to be in the mid laner now. I don't see him getting played as an AD carry. Meanwhile, the carries like Lucian got really strong in the patch, Kalista, Caitlyn, and Corki, Graves, and so on are really strong. So I think more of the traditional ADCs are going to see a lot of play.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because right now looking at Elise jungler first pick, very standard. Because Elise, one of those junglers all around, going to be good in a lot of team comps. But Kalista, Rexy, of course, one of those junglers as well. What do you believe about Kalista? And if she's going to go versus Lucian, how is that going to play out?
I think the matchup is kind of a skill matchup, but it's pretty good for Kalista because you can dodge the Light Slinger from Lucian, his Q ability. Also, with the current patch, with the buffed items, it's actually really good for Kalista because what she used to lack is crit, which is really good against tanks late game, because what she lacked in the past is that without crit you have a hard time taking down the high health targets, but you don't really have that problem anymore as Hurricane gives you 30% crit, and you also go for things like Static Shiv that also gives you 30% crit. So you're more of like traditional carry now more than before, so I think it suits Kalista really well.
And of course, got Lulu too. We don't know yet where she's going to go. She could go top lane, mid lane, or support. She's one of those really versatile picks. And of course, Nautilus, interesting support, not seen as much, I would say, lately. And Irelia for top lane.
I'm not surprised to see Flaxfish pick Irelia. It's one of his more like signature champions, so that doesn't surprise me too much. And also looking at the other side here on blue side, they pick Lulu. I'm most likely gonna say it's gonna be top or mid, considering that her abilities get so strong with AP scaling that she kind of lacks if she goes support. But yeah, if they go for Fretch, it's definitely going to be a Lulu.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Renekton for top lane. And what do you think about picking Irelia into a Lulu? What do you think about that?
I think the problem with blind picking Irelia is that she can struggle in team fights, because you will most likely be kind of squishy going for Rage Blade and so on, especially going against Lulu with Polymorph. I think he will focus on getting a split push build and get pressured that way instead of being the big team fight kind of champion. So.
Yeah, definitely. And versus Renekton, I mean, Irelia, Renekton, we also see Sleeping picking Renekton into Irelia. So is this a strong counter pick, or is it more like a comfort pick you pick that is decent against Irelia?
It's definitely strong against Irelia for sure. Like, in the early game, Renekton has very strong laning phase. I think Irelia will struggle unless she gets ahead. If Rek'Sai manages to get top and get Irelia ahead early game, it will really snowball really fast. So it kind of depends on the junglers a lot, but if the top lane is left alone, I'm gonna see Renekton getting ahead in this.
And we also see the last pick, Corki, going in versus Lulu. And Civis on Corki. Corki got a lot of changes as well. Now he deals much more AP damage. His magical damage has gone up on his auto attacks as well. But what about the rest of his abilities, and what about his new passive?
It's actually quite interesting looking at Corki now. When I played him myself, it's like looking at damage dealt after the game is like 70% magic damage from going from a traditional ADC that would have like 80% physical damage. So it's a very big change. So it's I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it in mid lane to see how it works, especially now with the passive with the package you pick up every 5 minutes in base, which basically works like the Rumble Equalizer. I'm really looking forward to see how it works. I think it looks pretty decent. I can definitely see it working out.
It really, really does. I would, just looking at this, my money would be on the Finnish team right now, actually, because I really believe in Lucian. I believe in the versatility you get from Lulu, Renekton top lane versus Irelia, and I think that Elise has a lot more potential for the game than Rek'Sai has. But what is your take on this?
I think the blue side team is definitely well more, like, it's better rounded. Like, the team fights are stronger and so on. The one thing they kind of lack is that the purple side has split push. They have pressure on the map. If they manage to get ahead early and they can split push as much as they want, it's going to be hard for blue team to force the objectives they need to win the game.
Definitely. And we're looking forward to this game. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's Finland versus Sweden. But first, we're going to go to a commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Or we're not going to go to commercial break, I believe.
Now we're going to commercials. Awkward, they're saying. Totally showing your unprofessionalness.
Sports Power Play.
Hi guys, and welcome back. It's Finland versus Sweden in the King of Nordic tournament, and we're just about to go in game. But I am not alone today. With me, I got Pontus, aka Vardox from Unicorns of Love, with me here in the studio. And you're about excited as I am about this game.
I am actually really excited to watch this. I think both have drafted pretty interesting team comps, and it's gonna be... I want to see which team comp gets ahead early, and which team actually gets to show the strength of their team comp, because they're both pretty different in what they're looking for here. The purple team with the Lulu looking for the team fights, the big kind of wombo fights. Meanwhile, the red side is looking for the split push with Irelia, and more of like the zoning and poking.
So, while looking for split pushing, I'm sort of concerned about... do they have enough of wave clear, and do they have enough control to avoid the all-in from the Finnish team?
That's kind of one thing they lack with Irelia as well. If you look at their carries, they don't have that much wave clear apart from Corki. Kalista has good wave clear if she can get in range. The problem is that you need to be in range to actually get the Hurricane auto attacks off to clear a wave. And if they get behind and if they get pressured, it can be really hard for a Kalista's wave clear. So against a team fighting team comp like the blue side, the Finnish team have right now, if they start falling behind early, I can definitely see them starting to lose a lot of turrets and snowball in the Finnish team's direction.
And speaking of that, my worry is also playing versus an Elise, playing versus a Thresh. If you get caught by one cocoon, you're also going to get caught by the hook. And you're going to be in a lot of trouble with all that CC. So if Cork is going to try to go into wave clear, or Kalista is going to go in to try to wave clear, you're always going to have that huge threat level around that. So how are they going to play around it, and will they be able to give a Flaxish the space he needs? That's my concern.
Yeah, they're probably just going to hope for Corky's wave clear in the mid game. If he can reach a pretty decent timing on his Triforce, he is really strong around that 50-minute mark once he reaches these items, and if he can hold and they can survive long enough for Flaxish to be a real split pushing threat, considering that he also has teleport while Renekton has Ignite, which can be a really big deal also for bot lane now, as he can actually TP bot. If you see them putting out deep wards, he can go there and look for some early plays.
And of course, Irelia with the Trinity Force, Corki with the Trinity Force are gonna get a pretty decent power spike around the same time. So do you believe Sweden is gonna play around that, or is it gonna be a more passive game, just giving as much space as possible for Irelia instead?
I would think they would just stall time until Triforces. I'm kind of interested to see if Flaxish decides to go for either Triforce or Rage Blade. Because Rage Blade is such a strong item on Irelia. He might do some kind of hybrid where he goes for some items towards Triforce and then finishes Rage Blade. Kind of depends on his back timings.
And this is actually interesting to me, because you're talking a lot about Rage Blade right now, something that I didn't know actually was played a lot on the top laners or around champions like Jax, like Irelia. So tell me more about this Rage Blade.
It's just that Rage Blade got buffed in this patch, so it basically deals more damage on each auto attack, and it stacks up to 8 times, giving you more attack damage and AP. And it's really good on champions like Jax, Irelia, even Aatrox. There's so many champions it just works super well with. And yeah, it's just really solid item right now.
And this is what I love about the new patch for League of Legends, or rather for Riot. It's so interesting to see that every pre-season there are so many changes. And right now the focus is around ADCs, but as you say, the new items as well, of course, going to be hugely important for the game.
I just need to interrupt you here, Sang, because we have a tweet from Vardox. Never mind, it disappeared.
Oh.
Oh.
Can we bring it up again, production?
We're going to see that tweet again.
There we go.
So true skill.
How do you feel about that?
That's pretty funny tweet. Maybe next time I'll show how it's done.
Alright, so top lane, the Swedish team is going for the early push. They're gonna get this turret, 4-man up top lane. Down bot lane though, there are 3 players already there. We already saw the lane swap for the Swedish team. They did not want to face this, but it's gonna be a little bit slower for Finland. And how is this gonna transition into mid-game?
I think this is a good for the Swedish team, considering that they had this favorable matchup for Irelia versus Renekton, especially when Renekton is Ignite. That's so much pressure for him in the 1v1 matchup. And what you're gonna look here is Flaxish manages to freeze the top lane wave, which means that one lane will be frozen, and one player, either ADC or top laner, will be able to get a lot of resources in terms of farm. So at some point here they will reswap. One will either push out the wave, recall him by items. And we will see Renekton do the exact same thing on the opposite side.
And I would say that looking at which player is going to get that free lane. Oh, Taki getting caught out. Hustling Beast coming in, getting the hook, but Repel is going to land straight on top of the enemy team. That's going to be a good knock-up and first blood to follow Memento. Fight is not over yet. Heal has been used. Sighten getting caught out a little bit right now, and Civis with the auto attacks, dealing a lot of damage. Going to lead to only 1 kill, but that first blood for Sweden is going to be huge, I believe, for Finland to handle it.
That was a really nice play by Memento right there. I mean, Taiki got caught out of position, side 10 positioned himself with the lantern, and as Memento was interrupting him mid-air during the lantern caster, so that was really nice.
And is that a hard play to do, to time that well?
I mean, if you expect it, it's not that hard, but it's more about having your mind in the game. Like, you see, okay, he's gonna land here, you know that Fresh has a lantern, he wants to click it, you just need to position yourself well and be ready for it. And he did that good, so it was a nice play.
And we got some more tweets. The Banter Squad is with the Goop Squad on this one. Hashtag King of Nordic, hashtag Free Fluxish, hashtag There's Only One JV. And I would say that Fluxish has a lot of fans. And Memento now getting a little bit caught up. Ataki, no flash for him. Gonna have to be careful around here. Satanism, of course, here as well. Gonna be the tower dive. Actually, for the Memento getting caught out of position. Not even gonna be a tower dive. Knockup is there, dealing some damage, and a kill for Taki. Now, giving back a little bit. There's a lot of creeps here, and Flaxish trying to position himself as best as he can, but will he be able to handle this by himself? Taki right now can't shake the aggro, just waiting for Repel, and it's going to be a lot of damage for Flaxish. No way for him to run. Actually use a splash, forces a flash from Hukimasa as well, but that's an easy kill now, going over to Finland.
I think this was a pretty big misplay here from the Swedish team. Flaxish and Memento here should have known that they don't have enough resources to protect this tower. You know that they're gonna have at least 3 men on the top side, so you need to have your support come with you as well to be able to defend. So now,
I'm sorry, what is the team talk? When this happens, you know it was a mistake. Everyone on the team knows that this was bad. Actually, we're going to talk about it later because Hukimasa now getting caught up. The lantern is there. Memento's going to try to chase this a little bit. Beast is also here, but I don't believe they're going to be able to catch him. And that's another turret for Finland.
yeah, and you can see how this kind of snowballed really hard here, how they got a bit greedy. They thought the 2-man on top side would be enough to actually defend the tower, but they ended up not being able to go to their turret, so they managed to catch up Memento by a really good play by Saitan with the flash play into hook. And once Flaxish was alone under that tower, that was pretty easy setup for them to dive him. They executed it really well, nobody died, and they got a clean pick and turret.
It wasn't just a tiny bit sloppy, I believe, not to let Taki tank the turret first using Repel at the last second to avoid burning flashes.
I think for them, they also got a bit surprised, I think, by Flaxish flash. They thought they had him, and Taiki also missed his cocoon. So they didn't chain the CC properly, but what they did do well was that they managed to get the kill without dying on anyone.
Absolutely. And it was a huge wave as well. Speaking of that, actually, because we saw earlier that Hukimasa was up top lane. He was pushing by himself versus Flaxish, pushing in under that turret, setting up for that 2-man kill. But Flaxish, or rather the Swedish team, letting him push like that, isn't that sort of a misplay coming out from Sweden?
When it comes to the pushing, it kind of...
Oh, Flaxish now getting caught out again, or is he actually sleeping? Gonna get him before Memento is gonna be able to help. And now sleeping low on HP. Father Memento trying to just dash back and forth. Mid lane also in a fight. Civ is taking a lot of damage. Sing and Dambo using his ult, using all that CC, and Civ is flashing away, not gonna help him. That's another kill for Finland, and Sweden does not look good right now. This is some huge plays coming out from Finland.
Also, as I said earlier during the Champions Select, we kind of saw it right here, how Renekton punished Irelia for having teleport. He went in with the Ignite, and even in the 1v2 for a bit, he just managed to kill her because Renekton in the early game is a really strong champion. And Flaxish took a fight where he wasn't strong enough to actually duel him, especially with the summoner disadvantage.
And looking on a lane swap, when you see that from Sweden, you see, okay, so they're going for a lane swap, they want to avoid Irelia versus Renekton, but now they're forced into it anyway, and they've lost the small advantage they got from getting that turret earlier, getting that first blood. Which mistakes led up to that moment?
I think it just got a bit chaotic. Like, I don't think they knew exactly what their game plan was in this lane swap, because everything got a bit weird. Like, in the bot lane, their bot lane didn't get that far ahead considering they just been bot farming, while they got zoned out top lane and also killed on the turret, which is everything they wanted to avoid.
Civis now going in, using that empowered Valkyrie we talked about earlier, but not going to be able to get that kill. Singing Emma using Flash. Of course, Civis already used his before, not getting away anyway. And Huki Masa now bot lane, pushing a lot this game, playing really aggressively, but here's gonna come a huge gank. Father Memento already arriving. Saiton now has the early little lead, gonna get the hook, and Father Memento really bad position to be in right now, taking way too much damage and going down before the team can actually arrive to help him. Now Saiton and Hukimasa still on full HP, but now here comes the damage. Sampi has arrived, going in with the damage, shut down on Lucian. Saiton's gonna get killed as well. And last second, Taki arrives, will not be able to do anything. And is this going to be a dragon as well?
This might very well transition into a dragon pickup if they decide to go for it. Memento is, however, in base, so we'll see if they decide to fight for dragon now that two people are dead, or if they just really want to get some turrets and keep pushing down bot lane.
But sleeping in mid lane, also pushing really quickly, getting that turret all the while. His teammates got killed bot lane, singing them up top lane as well. Will be able to handle it versus Flaxish. Flaxish is so far behind. I actually would, I said before I looked at his CS, but actually it's looking quite good.
One thing we didn't mention though earlier was they managed to get Rift Herald, which is the new mini Baron, as we can call it. They got it onto Lulu, which managed them.
Oh, Taki now, what a good cocoon, what a good flash and Sampe, nowhere to run. And just as we're talking about Sweden, getting something out of it, and there it goes. But yes, Rift Herald.
Yeah, the Rift Herald, as I was saying, is gave them that pushing power, so they managed to get yet another tower in mid lane. And as I was saying earlier as well, they seem to be getting that early lead for their team fighting team comp, where they get snowball into turrets and objectives. And unless Corki manages to get his Triforce and can wave clear, they might have some trouble protecting the turrets in a siege.
And Dragon now going down. Finland on the job, not even needing the ADC, sleeping, dealing so much damage. That's an easy first Dragon at 11 minutes. And, alright, so back to what's been going on in this game so far. Rift Herald, I believe that in this new patch, it's so important to see which teams can adapt to the new patch as quickly as possible to be able to play around it, because Rift Herald is now a very important objective, and I believe we're gonna see a lot of teams sort of forgetting about it because it's not been in the game for that long.
Yeah, it was also Riot's kind of answer to the whole bot lane party with all the TPs all the time. They made this Rift Herald, so there's actually a lot more things to contest on the top side of the jungle, and yes, on the top side in general, because if there's a lot of people in bot lane and you can do the Rift Herald, that gives you so much pressure on mid/top side, where you can just go with the target that got this buff and just push down turrets. And that's exactly what we saw on Lulu. She got the buff and she got a free turret because of it.
Yeah, and does this also mean that teleport top lane not going to be as important as before?
I think teleport is good to have on the top laner, kind of depending on what you're looking for in a team comp. Definitely on mid lane though, I don't think we're gonna see any more.
Oh, this situation, this is dangerous. Sleeping taking a lot of damage, Flaxish dealing all of it, but Sleeping still with the Ignite. Got Taki right behind him, gonna get hooked now. Fundamental coming in from the side of Sleeping, still dealing so much damage down on Beast, but not enough to kill anyone so far. Flaxish though, on lower than half HP, hustling Beast as well. So Sleeping so strong, but can they do this right now? Let's see the pink ward going down just a little bit. Fundamental dealing a lot of damage there. but all the rest of the team is on the way, and now they're gonna turn back. There's a good Cocoon landing off Fundamental, wants to go in for the engage. Saiton now hitting Fundamental again, he's so low, he's going to get bursted in seconds. Saiton now getting that ult from Lulu Sampa, dealing the damage, coming in from the side, no focus on him at all. Now on half HP, Sleeping, trying to do as much as he can, but his cooldowns is gonna stop him from that. It's gonna be a really even trade, going 1-for-1 so far, and Sweden in that fight looked much better than I thought they would.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I didn't expect it to go so well, looking at it at first, but at the same time, it was a 4v5 with Lucian bot
Yeah,
lane.
definitely.
So, with the man advantage, they managed to actually only pull out even, so it actually turned out better for Finland, as Lucian is getting a lot of free XP and farm and pressure on the bot lane turret. One thing I want to mention real quick is, as looking on Irelia's build, is how she started with pickaxe and then went into Phage for Triforce, and now she went for the blasting one, which means she wants to build that Rage Blade. I think we will see Irelia finish that item first, as she already has the 2 components for it. So once she gets that item, we can definitely see a very big power spike.
And it's going to be a little bit of a problem for Irelia if she goes straight to the Rage Blade because of the HP difference in Renekton and her. I mean, Renekton already got, he's got 1 kill, he got a lot of gold, and he's been looking so strong in these team fights. So is that the reason why Irelia went for Phage first?
Yeah, I think the Phage also gives Irelia a lot of mobility, with the extra speed up on hits and killing minions and so on. I'm pretty sure that's why he went for it, because he kind of fell behind early game, and I think the Phage kind of helps him survive a bit easier.
Sweden now pushing in on mid lane, gonna send Flaxish down bot lane instead. They really want Flaxish to be able to split push, to really use his teleport as quickly as possible, and as you said, Rage Blade is gonna help you to get that because of the huge power spike he's gonna get.
Yeah, definitely. I think for now they kind of want to slow down the pace of this game and just wait for Irelia to get the farm needed to complete the item. And the reason they can slow down the game and control the pace is also because Corki finishes Triforce, which is such a huge power spike at this point of the game. And as we can see on Kalista as well, is that she has her blade now. And once we see her getting that Hurricane, I will most likely say she's gonna go for a Shiv afterwards, which is gonna be really strong.
Also down on ADCs, looking at Essence Reaver, the new item, or rather the old item, but it's so different it could as well be a new one. I mean, as an ADC now, before you would almost always go for Infinite Edge. There's only a few ADCs where you want to go something else, like Vayne, like Kalista, and of course Corki as well. But now, looking at Essence Reaver as a core item, is that something you want to rush instead, or you want to transition into something else at first?
It kind of depends on what champions you play. Some have other core items, like Lucian, for example, fits so well with the Essence Reaver, just because of the mana, the cooldown reduction, everything just fits him so well. And other...
Oh, Sampi getting caught out, avoiding that cocoon, gonna dash away. Is he gonna get away from this? No, the hook is gonna land. So close, but 1 versus 3, not enough skill to handle that. And that's another kill for Finland. There's been a lot of picks coming out from Finland, while Sweden has been sort of looking for those really well-planned team fights instead.
Yeah, and as we were talking about the itemization earlier, when it comes to the typical ADCs that would rush that Infinity Edge... Oh, we have another fight.
Sleeping now, we're able to get this out. Flaxish dealing too much damage. All of a sudden, the Rage Blade, as you were talking about before, way too strong. Irelia, from being the underdog, all of a sudden, easily 1v1s, even versus the Ignite.
Yeah, we can definitely see how strong the Rage Blade is right there. From being handled by Renekton with Ignite, now she can even fight him with the Rage Blade, because it just gives Irelia so much strength in the duels. So from now on we will see them starting to split push a lot more, as Finland doesn't really have an answer to the split push from Irelia.
And that's going to be the most interesting part, I believe, of this game. What I love about League of Legends right now, or rather since the last year, actually we're going to talk about it later, because Hunting Beast getting caught, getting bursted, going down, and Dragon is up, the worst time possible to get killed. Meanwhile, top lane, though, Flaxish getting that solo kill, is also going to get a turret, but Dragon, this is the second one, going down, going over to Finland, and Finland seems to be looking for the long-term game, while Sweden just simply pushes for the win.
Yeah, and the dragons are still the same as always. The team that starts to get the early dragons always has the pressure towards the late game. Once you start reaching the third dragon with the movement speed, which is a really scary one, And then if you do reach the 4th one, then you know that there's a timer on the game. You have 6 more minutes until you have to fight for Dragon. Because if a team manages to get the 5th one, I don't see a team coming back.
And what I love about going for the Dragons right now from Finland is that, to me, neither of these teams has any huge advantage for late game. I mean, some team comes, you know that they want to stall it out too late game. That's when they're gonna simply just burst through everything the enemy team has. But right now, instead, looking for this early game, looking at the early game advantage we've seen Finland get, going for the Dragons, gonna be able to get that last Dragon much earlier, and they're gonna be able to get that huge power spike and the threat level from it.
And I think that's the good thing that they've been doing in this game too. I think they kind of realize that they do have the superior team fights, which means that they are way better at contesting these neutral objectives like Rift Herald, like Dragon, and that's exactly what they've been doing. So if they keep getting these Dragons and trying to force fights for the red team to actually come out of base and stop split pushing, that's how they're gonna win the game.
And I was talking at the start of the game that I was worried about Sweden not going to be able to avoid the team fights. And so far I would say that we haven't actually seen Sweden even try to avoid team fights. We've seen them go straight headfirst into them and almost looking to outplay the enemy team instead.
Yeah, I think they've just been looking at the power spikes. Like, they started looking for team fights as soon as Corky reached his Triforce and Kalista had her Blade, which is just 2 really big power spikes for them. And they just felt strong enough to look for some of the team fights. Most of them has actually been looking really even so far. And now with Aurelia having the TP up and ready, the pace of the game and how it's going to be played is going to be very different from how it's been earlier.
On the other hand, we're already seeing that the Dragon went down before Flaxish had that opportunity, so Flaxish still up top lane. See, the rest of the team is down bot lane now, trying to defend versus this push. But at the same time, of course, Sleeping, I mean, he has to defend this, but now he knows that he will lose 1 versus 1, and how will they be able to cope around that?
I think we'll just see Renekton staying under tower, holding Aurelia wherever she goes. He's gonna try and follow her, but that's kind of the problem as well, because Aurelia is gonna keep pushing out the wave, going into the fog of war, and then since Renekton doesn't have TP, he can't follow. While Aurelia can actually go to a team fight and try and force a 4v5.
So looking at this, I mean, this of course is a tactical disadvantage, not having TP versus a TP. I mean, the mobility you get as a team over the map is going to be lacking, and that's all so clear. But how do you handle that? What are you going to do as a team to work around that threat level coming out from an Aurelia?
I think Finland is just gonna have to try and force all the objectives they can. Like, they're really strong when they're grouped, so they're gonna have to try and force towers somehow, try and push out the side waves, group up in one position before Flaxish has time to get pressure on the side lane.
And that's actually what we're looking to do right now. This is what we're looking at, because top wave is pushing, slowly pushing up, and Flaxish down bot lane now is gonna be able to get 1 turret, of course, if something happens right now, but we see instead Finland going for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and as 20 minutes has gone, it's now time for Baron. So it's gonna be really early if they do start it here. It's gonna be a really early Baron, which can be quite risky.
I didn't look at the clock.
Yeah.
That's not a Rift Herald.
Yeah.
But yes, Baron, and this is actually very good. Unless they get caught out. And I mean, Sleeping is already on low HP. Not that tanky, and you're gonna get caught. Now that's a huge knockup coming out, and a pullback from Kalista as well. The damage has been dealt. Flaxish still bot lane, not teleporting for this, and they actually don't need to, because everyone are so low in the Finnish team, they're gonna have to back away from this, and Flaxish is gonna get another turret.
Yeah, and we see it exactly here. Like, the Finnish team tried to force the objective. Like, they know they don't have an answer for Aurelia's split push. They don't have the TP to follow. So they try to do what they should, like they try and force the objective to force the TP and force a team fight in the open. The problem though was that they started a 21-minute Baron without being tanky enough to actually tank it. So they got stopped 4v5 while Aurelius was just pushing bot lane. Managed to get 2 free turrets.
What I wanted to see instead is to see Finland go for a lot of more deep wards, getting a clear around the vision area around Baron, and after that simply baiting and trying to force Sweden to come and face check Baron and then start a 5 versus 4 fight. Because even if Flaxish has teleport there, if he uses this too early, Finland's just going to be happy, they're going to back away because now the threat level has been diminished. Or if he doesn't teleport, they're simply going to get a 5 versus 4 fight and they're going to win it.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to see Finland try and get more vision. When they try to force these things, if they can push out the side lanes, group up, get the vision, clear the enemy team's vision, and then, because they have such good catch, I mean, with the fresh Death Sentence and then also Cocoon from Elise, they have that pressure of actually catching people, and once they manage to get one catch on one person, it's going to be so much harder for the Swedish team to actually follow up on the objectives, but we'll see if they manage to actually do this and execute.
And Finland has gotten a lot of picks so far in this game. I believe like 7 out of 9 kills would actually have been pick kills. But have they been able to do enough with those kills? Because now they're falling behind. Even in team fights, even at this Baron, 5 versus 4, they still had to pull out before the fight even started. So did they use the advantage they got early?
They didn't use it enough, considering that they just had to keep using that and get the catches.
Cocoon, but it's on flags, that's not going to be enough. Not going to take too much damage. Going in now, Saiton on the wrong side of that fight. Fundamental taking the front line, sleeping inside of the enemy team. Gonna go down before his team can help him. And now Saiton going down as well. Double kill to Fundamental, flashing in on Hukimasa. Hukimasa getting the knock up, trying to get away, dealing as much damage, getting 1 kill. Gonna try to get away from this fight, just getting another kill. That's a shot on Samp, actually gets it, keeps chasing, and here comes Kalista with the most annoying follow-up ever, but it's actually not going to be enough. They're not going to get that kill. 3 for 2, and looking for the dragon still, although very low.
Yeah, and you can definitely see how this is getting a bit scary for the Finnish team. If they can't win the team fights that their team comps is designed for, when they already have lacking split pushing against Irelia.
Oh, Flaxish, so low, we can see the chase. Fundamental now instead getting caught. Repel being used as well onto Sampe, and now Taki getting the shield. Glitterland's missing, and Sampe will he be able to get this 1 versus 2? Gonna keep chasing, getting the slow, but not having vision in that bush. That pink ward is gonna stop him. Sighting coming from the sound, and Sampe still on this, trying to get it. Polymorph being used, and Singal Dembo not wanting to risk it. Gonna let him get away.
Yeah, you can see right there, a bit of an overstay on Memento and Flaxish. Flaxish was really low and they were hunting him, and then Memento tried to back him up a bit and managed to get caught and give a free pick to Tiki.
And Dragon's still up, and as you were saying before, Finland, if they can't win 5 versus 5, then they don't have anything anymore. So this actually is huge for them. They need to show that they can win fights, but right now they can't even take it. The stacks are already there. Sampe getting that dragon so easily. One will not be able to smite steal it once those stacks start ramping up. And wow, all of a sudden, Sweden, who looked so weak early, still behind in kills if you only want to look at that and see like how it's been going so far. But they're looking so much stronger.
Yeah, I mean, they used what they needed to do perfectly. They got their earlier power spike with a Rage Blade. She started split pushing, and she showed that once she 1v1 the Renekton that Finland also realized that at that point, like, what do we do now? Like, they kind of need to rethink the strategy, like, how are we gonna deal with that Relia split push? And that's the one thing they didn't manage to do properly, and that's why Sweden actually managed to get ahead, so...
And it's also an annoying thing, I believe, playing versus this. I mean, neither team has a great way to clear waves. I mean, Lulu, of course, with Little Lance, will be able to deal a lot of damage on the wave, but she can't clear it all in one shot. And that's going to be very hard to handle. So, when the enemy team gets the pushing ability, just gets the advantage and starts pushing, neither team can really defend against it. Both have to fight at all situations. And that is so scary. That you always have to go for those fights, that you can't just back away, that you can't wave, that you can't stall it out. You have to go for every single objective, every single time. And now the teleport being used. Sweden is onto Baron, it's going down fast, and of course remember Kalista with the stacks, gonna make it so hard to steal it. They're gonna go hard for it and they're gonna get it. Actually, Baron is down, but some hunting beast going so low, getting 1 kill, Flag just getting it. Strike is now going down as well. Sweden coming out from the absolutely most crazy Baron, and they just walked into it, they got it, they took 2 kills, and they walked away.
Yeah, I think they realize how good of a Baron they actually have. I think every team with Kalista kills the Baron so fast, and you have such a good smite with the stacks, and you can communicate with your jungler and be like, hey, let's smite at 2.5k or 2k, and you have a really easy Baron.
But this is absolutely amazing. I mean, Sweden has had a rough time in King of Nordic so far. Sweden, I believe, they haven't won a single game from the start of King of Nordic. Now, if this Swedish team gets it, going to be the first, is that's going to go down in, well, I would say history, but actually I would just say it's going to go down in my memory at least.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny if they actually do end up winning this, considering how the early game looked. But it wasn't that bad. I think they made some mistakes that they got punished for, but at the same time they managed to kind of use their team count correctly, and you can definitely see that paying off now.
And I would say that the early game, I saw a lot of overstay, or actually we still see a lot of overstaying. We see a little bit of overconfidence coming out from Sweden. And I mean, you know these players. Is this something they struggle with?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I think they could have definitely been punished harder for it. But at least they did well in minimizing the damage they took from it. Considering how grim it looked when they started losing the bot and top turret, while losing kills at the same time, coming back with the split push and just individually outplaying, I would say now, actually.
And I mean, as well for Irelia, I mean, if she falls behind, if she can't split push, then she can't really do anything anymore. So for Flaxish, one of, I would argue, the players you should look out for, sort of the star player of the team, even though Sivas would probably hate me if he heard me say it. So let's hope he's not listening to this. I mean, when he fell behind, I felt that this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I definitely thought so too. I thought when Sivas died as well, both Sivas and Flaxish actually died quite a lot. Sivas died 1v1 against the Lulu, which is quite troublesome because Lulu scales pretty well, especially with a carry when she can shield so huge. And Flaxish getting pretty...
Flaxish now getting caught, but Taki as well. Flaxish taking a lot of damage now, but Lulu coming in, using all of it, and the shutdown is there. Flaxish with a huge flash over the wall, and then back again. Momentum getting hooked out of the turret, but Hustling Beast now going in, getting the CC off, Sampi getting the kill, and this is simply just brutal. Sweden slaughtering Finland right now, going straight under those turrets. Here comes the flash, Momentum always on the job. Hukimasa getting killed underneath the two Nexus turrets, Inganemo not there in time. Not even able to do any damage right now. And that's the problem with Lulu, I believe. She doesn't have the burst she needs to be able to go in for those long team fights. Now Zinganempo still on it, but Flaxish going in. There's the stun, there's the shutdown. And this is probably going to be GG. 1 second. Taki and Saiten will be able to stop it. Everyone on solo, but Fundamento is back again with full HP. Flaxish taking the damage, still on the Nexus, and that's going to be it. First game ever in King of Nordic going to Sweden.
I just want to comment here that Syke said moments before they won that he bet with his Finnish workmate, he said that who is gonna win. So he was cheering for Sweden with maximum power. And I guess he won some extra cash this month.
I believe he did. I mean, I don't even know how much they bet on that. It could have been like, I don't know, 10 whatever they have in Finland.
Corona?
What do they have in? What do they have in
Euro?
Yes, they got euros. Right, they do. Oh my god. Well, okay, so obviously I lack in knowledge about that. And we're gonna send it back to Luve.
We're gonna send it back to me. Are we?
Are we?
Oh, really? Are we not gonna comment on the game here?
Apparently not.
Apparently
Take
not.
it away. You can
So
just say something funny.
We're gonna say something funny, but and we're gonna play the national anthem for Sweden for the first time in League of Legends Sweden Nordic. Wait. Control room? We're gonna go. So here we see Finland facing Denmark, and now we're gonna play our national anthem. Here we go. That was our national anthem for the first time in League of Legends. It's sweet to hear. But I'm gonna pass it over to Sang and Vardogs. And we're gonna take an analysis of the game, but I actually want to ask Vardogs this, that since you're a pro ADC player, who is your favorite marksman in the game right now?
My favorite marksman is definitely Kaylin right now. It's just a lot of fun with how they changed kind of her kit with headshot and everything, and I hope somebody will play her so we can cast a bit about her gameplay.
Because,
So
I mean, Caitlyn used to be, she has always been a lane bully, but now I feel she's a lane bully, but she's got a small team of other bullies around her that can help her just kick the other ADC.
She's not a lane bully, she's the lane bully now.
Right, right.
yeah, and I think it's actually kind of good and bad for Kaylin right now because the games are generally shorter in the current patch, and she's really strong in the early game. The problem is just that you kind of rely on doing well in the laning phase. Because if you don't do well and you don't get your items, Caitlyn just don't deal enough damage.
But I feel like that's the same Caitlyn we've seen before, only that now it's even harsher. She deals even more damage early, and she lacks even more damage later if she doesn't get the early game.
Yeah, even though right now I do think that the itemization is so much better for Caitlyn. Like, you can go early BF Sword, Pickaxe, and then straight into Shiv. And before you had to go Infinity Edge, and then into Shiv or Phantom Dancer. And the time between those two items were just such a big trouble for Caitlyn because you just didn't have enough damage output. But that is kind of answered in the new patch with the new itemization. You can go for 80 carries. So I definitely think she's really strong, and I hope to see someone actually play her.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I really hope to. But we're going to talk about this game right now, because I was sort of rooting for... Well, actually, I didn't root for, but I thought the Finnish team had the better team comp after Champion Select. But when Sweden got just a tiny bit ahead, or rather when Flaxish just started rolling, they used that to roll all the way to the win. What happened?
I think Finland just had the right idea at start. Like, they did really well, they got the turrets, they got the picks at top tower, like they got the turret and managed to kill both Memento and Flaxish, which was really good and snowballed a lead to about 2k if I remember correctly. And at that point they had a really strong foothold on the game, where they managed to get the 2 first dragons and a Rift Herald early in the game. The problem for them was that they didn't really snowball their lead enough, they didn't set up the vision, they didn't control the silence enough, so once Aurelia got a Rage Blade, she managed to 1v1 the Renekton, and at that point, they kind of lost their game plan. They didn't know what to do in the next step. They didn't plan on how do we deal with Aurelia, and how are we going to teamfight them now.
Exactly, and Sweden is going to keep playing. They're going to play versus Denmark right now, but first we're going to go to a commercial break, so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Sports Power Play.
Welcome back to the King of Nordic after this commercial break. And why the hell doesn't adblock work? I don't know. We're gonna take a look at the roster after we take this deal that you can get featured in the show at hashtag King of Nordic. Even though we don't have time to read them all at all times because we're actually casting the game. Holy shit, serious production, what is happening? Is this King of Nordic? Is it even real? But we will be able to cover this one. Hästfar. Great name. Danmark, utskitet ur kalk och vatten, Sverige hugget ur granit. This is a Swedish tweet, but it basically says Denmark pooped out by chalk and water, and Sweden is cut out from granite.
And I feel like
King of
that's
Nordic.
one of those tweets that you don't really have to translate. It's like, if you understand
Yes,
it, you understand it.
We have to translate it. We actually have an audience outside of the Nordic kind of countries, I guess, which pretty much understand each other, except for Denmark. What the hell are you up to?
And yeah, and Finland, I mean, we totally understand Finland.
But I mean, if the Finnish can pretty much talk Swedish since it's their second language, so I mean, we got it
I've
going for us.
been there.
We
They
have
say
another
they
one
know.
from our teacher from school. Hello there, bubbies. Penguin, I love penguins. Is this like the Svartonat bubbies? Is this what's going? Are your famous quotes? Oh, we're getting a new jingle. And then we have the roster. We have the wrong music for rosters. There we go. And since Sweden won, we once again have the AD carry, Sampe, and the support Hustling Beats, who performed really great last game. We have the jungle Memento, who got slightly caught out. Maybe you want to step up your game. Same with Fluxies, their top lane, Aurelia, great place. And then we have their mid, Civisi? Civis. Am I pronouncing that right? No, I'm not.
You're not.
And then we have the Denmark ADC, Salty Asian Kid. Shout out to Sang over there. We have the support, Anders Wind, and the jungle Broxa, together with the top Homer or Atom Bomber, which is Adam Nukes, I guess, with the mid Catania Uraka. I am slaughtering all these names, so I hope you get offended.
Offensive.
Not offensive.
Let's make them offensive.
Well, let's make them offensive. we're kind of fucking them up. We're making them angry, which is good because we're gonna slaughter them since we're Sweden and Vikings. We kill people. That's what we do. But we're gonna take it over to our casters, Sang and Vardogs.
And
Right
yeah.
now, there we go. Always
yes, we're
the
still
awkward
here.
silence.
Always
the
with
awkward
the awkward silence,
Nice.
always. You can't ask for anything in this production. You
Exactly.
Just, so I need this, and then you wait, and then nothing happens.
What we should ask
at
for
all.
is the cricket sound. We also have here, what I wanted, is the house tour of you, Vardogs, in your German house, with some slow-mo.
The production of this video was actually hilarious. I
Can you
remember.
explain to me where you use in this picture?
Yeah, I'm the one in the bathtub in the unicorn hat and the glasses. Actually, when we made this, it was so much fun because we used an entire day, and we just filmed. It was a lot of fun planning it, talking about how we're gonna set it up, and executing it. It was hilarious.
But this was your house in Germany, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, that was the gaming house we had in Germany when we played in LCS.
And I mean, looking at LCS production videos, you always seemed so happy to get it. It was like one happy little family of unicorns. Was it really so? Were you that happy?
Yeah, I mean, we were always so high when we were playing, and I think we showed that when we were winning. The games we won, we were all like, oh, like hugging each other, jumping around.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of our image for a lot of the time, because we were always just so excited to play and super excited when we actually won games.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at you play, every single game I watched with unicorns, because at first, to be honest, I mean, the first thing I heard about was, okay, so they got this really weird champion pool. They're always going for these new crazy, they're sort of a gimmicky team. So, to be honest, I was like, okay, so yeah, they're a gimmicky team. I mean, they're a little bit like TLO in StarCraft 2 at the beginning, the little one. And then I saw you play in LCS and actually thought, I mean, you seemed so happy all the time. You seem like actually enjoying playing League of Legends, and that made me happy. So, I mean, thank you, man, for being in Universe of Love, and thank you for making me happy watching you guys.
Yeah, I mean, for us when we played, it was just a lot of fun when we got together. I'm actually really interested now that IEM San Jose is starting this weekend, as we played there last year, where we got second place and we won against TSM in the semifinals, which got us as a team really like hyped up for the people. And now with the new lineup, where Hildesang and Chachi are the two remaining players, I'm really excited to see how they will progress and actually do this weekend too. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. And I mean, at least I hope that the spirit of Unicorns of Love is gonna just keep being out there, because that was the best thing I think about Unicorns of Love, the spirit and the just sheer joy of playing League of Legends. What just happened?
The spirit
I got
of the
Yeah.
Unicorns of
So
Love.
you're gonna have to get used to that. That happens
the
in this
Shia
production.
LaBeouf, or
You know what?
how
Are we
you
gonna go
pronounce it.
in game instead of talking? Or
I
we,
think
we,
so.
we can of course keep talking. That's no problem. But we're gonna go in game as well.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
we're
good.
just gonna tell the players to go.
No, you're just gonna sit there silent in the pick screen and be
And
like,
here is 1 minute of silence for the former Unicorns of Love, who is no longer the same Unicorns of Love,
Moment
except
of silence.
for 2 players. And yeah, this 1 minute of silence doesn't work out at all. It's not even
Yeah.
been 10 seconds.
we should really get the cricket sound for all these awkward moments
Right?
we're getting from the production.
Do we have a cricket sound?
Do we have a cricket sound?
No, that's
Production?
trumpets.
Yeah.
That's not crickets. No, that's a chicken. That's
Close
not,
enough.
That's also not. That's a. I was going to say that's a cock, but I guess it sort of is, or
Both rises in the morning.
oh yes, and that's a cow.
No,
I
that's
feel
you
like we're on like this
Like on the
children's
farm.
show.
Yeah,
It's a
we-
children's show now.
I feel like on the farm right now. I get to hear all the animals.
Like, did you grow up on a farm?
No.
No?
I did not.
Okay, sorry. I was like, dude, did you? Like, did you have a computer? Did
Oh,
you
God.
did you have to milk cows in the morning, or did you have to like power a generator to get internet and a computer? Because that would have been awesome. That would have been LCS
That would
worthy
have been quite
material.
a story.
Yeah.
Quite a story.
Hashtag
Like the
gamer who
story
games.
about Pontus working his
And
way
here
up
I am.
in the
I'm
world.
gonna read this tweet to interrupt you guys. Young Apple, question to Bloomigan, which is the coach for the Swedish team. I heard your team captain. Oh, I heard your team captain. Never mind. There's parenthesis. Why are you using Memento when OP Shaco is free agent? I don't know. Free again, I guess he meant. He's declined or question mark hashtag King of Nordic. Good Swedish or English, I mean.
I guess we're
Perfect
gonna have to ask
translation.
Bloomingen about that later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write to him at Facebook. No, I'm not gonna write on Facebook during broadcast, or am I?
Or
If I like walk away and go to Facebook instead, are you gonna cast this?
Yeah, about that.
That would be funny. I mean, you've played in us. You know how to cast. You don't like play by play. You just go in there. You're like,
Definitely. I can just take over the cast, no problem.
yeah,
I
go
got
a quick shot all over
Yeah.
it. Welcome back. And can you do that voice? You know, the super hyped voice, like we're going in for the game. Or actually, that
Aren't
was
you
a
the
bad,
Korean
that was,
one?
that was
I
a
want to
bad.
see you do that, actually.
Aren't
Oh,
you the
no,
Korean?
I don't-
Aren't you the one
I-
that's supposed to do this?
You know what? We are in Champions League. We're just going to talk about that instead of my hyping cast voice, because that is non-existent. On the blue side now, we got the Danish team, who used to actually be the Kings. They were Kings 3 weeks straight, and last week they got knocked down by Norway with a team that looked absolutely unbeatable last week. So the team with the most changes right now has been Finland and Sweden. And Finland lost to Sweden, so if Sweden manages... it's going to be interesting to see how Sweden manages to play against this team now from Denmark, because this is... I think it's almost the exact same team as last week.
Yeah, I'm not too informed about the rosters of previous King of the Hill, but I'm pretty interested to see how well this team performs. I know Kripan doing a lot with Crepo, and he was really hyped as a player, so as an ADC, I'm actually really hyped to see how he performs, and you see his performance. So I definitely want to see how they do, and looking at the bans now as well, they take away the Nautilus from the previous game, and Rek'Sai, and Jax. It's just Jax. So.
It's really no surprise,
Yeah.
seeing the way they played. Even though Memento got caught a few times, he still manages to do so much more with it. It's like he gets caught, but he doesn't care. He just simply goes in instead, and he just ignores all of your CC.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai always has that pressure with the tremor senses, where he can, just sense and see people around him from a long distance, which can be really annoying to play against if you want to go and set up vision and just put down pressure, because Rek'Sai can almost always see you.
So we're gonna see the first pick now coming out, and since Elise and Rek'Sai both are banned, I would argue that we would not see a jungler being first picked this time.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. There's a lot of things you can first pick in this patch. I mean, Yasuo is extremely strong right now with the new
Fiora is
masteries.
open.
Yeah, Fiora, Yasuo, Tryndamere even.
Tryndamere even?
With the new masteries that heals you when you crit.
Yeah.
Champions like Yasuo, Tryndamere and so on are really strong. And can definitely solo carry in normal games alone. So I want to see if some of the teams pick them up. And they seem to favor Lulu, which is overall, even at Worlds, really
Lulu is really
solid
strong,
champion.
but I feel like it's starting to feel like Lulu is one of those champions that used to be super strong. Now she's sort of strong, she's decently strong, and people know how to play around her. So you favor her more for that rather than her being a really strong pick.
Yeah, Lulu is just so strong with the right carry because she's the supportive kind of carry. When you play her in top or mid, she goes AP, but she is mostly there to shield and speed up your ADC. The problem in the previous team comps from Finland was just that they had Illusion, which doesn't have the biggest hyper carry potential or the range to support the Lulu. So I hope to see them now pick something more hyper carry like a Jinx, a Caitlyn even, or something that has better range, better damage that can utilize Lulu.
Yeah, and I mean, Kog'Maw, since the changes, he is not as strong as an ADC, I would say, anymore. I feel like he lacks a little bit in damage now.
Yeah, he definitely lacks a bit in damage, and the problem is just that he has so much attack speed that you lose damage while moving. So you're kind of forced to stand still if you actually want to have good damage output, which is obviously not optimal, especially not with Lulu when she speeds you up. You kind of want to move around and run. So it's not... It kind of...
I wanted to change so you can auto-attack while moving with Kog'Maw. That would be awesome. It's like a moving turret.
Yeah, pretty much. That would be something else entirely.
But you know what we didn't talk about also? Mundo also was banned last game. Now he's been picked instead with Soraka. So the heals and the regeneration is going to be absolutely out of the roof. And also Misfortune and Nidalee. And of course, this is the Swedish side going to be, actually,
never mind, the blue one is the Danish team, and the purple is the Swedish
and you know
team.
them, it's Flaxish, it's Falvamento, Civis, Sampe, and Hostlin Beast. And of course, the Danish team is going to be Homer Capazon, Brockshaw, Captain Oraka, Critter Butter, actually I think I'm pronouncing wrong, and Anders Wind.
And by the way, Sang, you were unsure of who was new, and I think Anders Wind is the only one we don't recognize.
Yes, Anders Wind is also, he's not new, he's from the old team as well.
He was from the old team.
Then
Then
I
we
think
have
this is
the
the
full,
exact same
Then
team
we have the exact same team.
as before. But yeah, Critter Butter, is that how you pronounce it?
I guess this name now, but I think his old name was just Critbud. I think that's what he's known. His name is.
Right.
What's interesting to me though is the Soraka Mundo here, especially Soraka in the new mastery, where you heal more and you give the targets you heal or shield 15%. I think.
Resistance.
Damage resistance or something like that. Yes. Yeah, bonus resistance, which is so strong for Soraka with all the heals, the ultimate and everything.
And the AO and the global heal, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's crazy. All of a sudden, the entire team got 15% more resistance. I mean, that's a lot. Of course, we're gonna see Yasuo being played as well together with a Lulu. That's gonna be hard to handle if they manage to get that good knockup together with Leona. But on the other hand, I don't feel the synergy with a Nidalee and a Misfortune going in with this team. I feel they are... Misfortune is so immobile. I feel her having a hard time getting into position for the fights.
I think with MF, they kind of have this big wombo combo where they have Yasuo, Lulu, Leona, and MF Ultimate is just really strong with the AoE damage. So I think in terms of wombo combo team fights, it's not that bad of a pick. I think...
And something has happened. I'm getting actually...
production room, switch screen,
Oh,
please.
so apparently one of the players did not have Irelia.
Yeah.
So I think
A placeholder
so. Yeah, they're gonna quickly repick everything, and we're gonna see just random bans, and they're gonna pick the exact same team. This actually does happen. It's in the rules that if one of the players doesn't have a champion for a swap, it's still okay. They can pick a placement champion instead, and that was Shaco being Irelia. So they're just gonna remake quickly.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, what is kind of interesting for me is how they pick Nidalee. Because Nidalee doesn't really fit their team comp at all. Like, she doesn't provide anything apart from early pressure. So unless Nidalee actually managed to get their team ahead early game, I don't see her doing much once the fight's starting. Because just how she is as a champion doesn't really synergize with the whole wombo combo and following up on the team. So that was a bit odd to me, but we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I can believe in it. It's sort of like Leona catches someone, so Nidalee and Leona can do a pretty good pick together if they try to just roam the map. But as you said, for a team fight, and also going for the Wombo combo, that sort of relies on Leona being able to get into a really great position to be able to knock up multiple enemies at the same time when Lulu ults. That is sort of, to me, it doesn't look that that strong, or rather that safe as a safe way to go into engages.
Yeah, it might also just be like a comfort pick for the player himself. I don't know their jungler, but it might be like his most played or just a very comfortable champion.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, he might just want to show how good he is on Italy and prove us wrong and show what he can do with the champion.
Absolutely.
What is interesting though is Yasuo as well, because Yasuo is so strong in the current patch because of the masteries that heal him when he crits, and Yasuo's passive giving him double the crit he already have. And with the new items giving more crit in general, you can easily reach 100% crit really early in the game. You only need Static Shiv. That already gives you 60% on Yasuo. And then if you get either Triforce or Infinity Edge, you're already 100%. So once he reaches those items, you will see Yasuo being a serious threat to the enemy.
And also, looking at the Swedish team instead, I was thinking about, this is a lot like the earlier comp we saw them play versus Finland. The difference is, instead of Nautilus, they got Soraka, and instead of Rek'Sai, they got Mundo. And getting Mundo instead of Rek'Sai, is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
I think Mundo is really strong jungler right now. I think in terms of early pressure, Mundo doesn't have the gank potential Rek'Sai have. Rek'Sai has the tunnel pressure because he can tunnel from 2 different lanes from a really long distance, and he can set up really good ganks, and he also has the global pressure with the ultimate. Mundo though has, yeah, you're just the big team fight tank, and you can soak up a lot of damage, especially with a Soraka. I think the problem for me is more of the sustain or CC. They have no CC at all on their team.
No, absolutely. And going versus Jasu with no CC, that is sort of risky. I mean, if someone gets caught out of position, if Soraka, Lucian, or Corki gets caught, they're gonna get absolutely bursted in seconds. And that's the only thing we're gonna see Denmark looking for, to get that backline, get him out of the fight, because then, versus just Mundo, doesn't deal any damage, Soraka doesn't deal any damage, it's only Flaxiers they have to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time now, it's gonna be a bit harder for Flaxiers to split push, because once Yasuo starts getting these items, it can be really hard for Aurelia to deal with him. But in the mid game, she will have the advantage when she reaches the same as last game when she gets the Rage Blade.
And we're gonna have to look for that. We're looking forward to it. The game is just about to start, but first we're going to commercials, so don't go anywhere.
Because you want to see us.
And again,
After the commercial.
I'm saying
Yeah, we
commercials
really
and
should
nothing
get the
happened, right?
cricket
Yeah,
sound.
It's like, we need crickets. We need crickets here.
Yeah, because like all these awkward moments.
Welcome out of LCS. This is what happens.
Yeah,
This is what happens. I can't work with this. I'm just gonna.
The controller
so
had too many beers.
So I guess
beers.
are we not gonna go to commercials?
There we go. Chirp, chirp.
Esports Power Play.
Hi guys, and welcome back. We are in game, or rather we're looking at the Summoner platform, but the players haven't connected yet, so we're waiting for that. That's exciting. But at the same time, do not worry, there they are, the Danish team at the blue side, and up top we got the Swedish team, and in the studio with me, I got Bardogs, aka Pontus, aka the man, or rather no one calls him that, but I'm gonna call you that right now, and he is gonna be casting together with me tonight.
Oh, and we seem to have a pause.
So yeah, so one of the players sort of disconnected, it seems, so they're gonna wait for it, and that happens. It even happens. Actually, has that happened lately in LCS or in Worlds?
I mean, it happens sometimes, but obviously since that's offline, it's more of malfunctioning or a player experiencing some kind of issue. Because when you do play on the LCS stage, you have you can pause if you need to pause for something. Like, let's say your mouse is not working correctly, the sound is not working. But at the same time, a lot of these things on LCS you check before. Like, you have a checklist that you go through to make sure everything working correctly. So you don't experience that many pauses, but it do happen sometimes.
I remember Yamato Cannon casted with me before. With we casted LCS on the Swedish for a game. And he told me that in Season 1, they once had a malfunction with the servers, and they had to wait, I believe, like 4 or 5 hours without moving from their seats. Is that something you could even imagine happening?
Yeah. I think at the moment, there's no way that could happen, but I'm just gonna exit.
Yeah, you do that. And
But
we just keep having these small malfunctions. But that means you're just going to get more time talking to you instead, Pontus. So I'm just happy anyway. You know what? That doesn't really matter. And I say that, and then I get awkwardly silent while writing to our admin. So yeah.
I did a new invite as well.
So yeah, it's still going to be the same. But actually, I'm going to go back to the small trivia about LCS, because he told me that, you know, back in the days, there were the servers were so bad. I mean, we complain about the servers now from time to time, yes, because it's sort of funny to complain about it, but it's much better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, could you even imagine sitting there, like, in the LCS, just waiting 4 hours for the game to start?
Yeah, definitely no. I mean, it's absolutely crazy when I think back to how bad the servers once were. But at least for now, the servers are pretty stable, at least compared to how it used to be. But I think the trouble Riot had back in the days, I'm pretty sure in Season 1 that they played on the live server.
Yeah.
Which is a huge issue. But obviously now it's offline, which is just good because you don't experience the problem you have on an online server. Also, the ping is way better.
So
better
the
for
only thing we're
players.
looking for now is for Riot to open it up so everyone can play offline. So we don't so we can play at like a LAN party where you don't, if the internet for some reason doesn't work, you can just simply, you can start League of Legends anyway.
Go on the offline server.
Yeah.
Practice.
It's just everything I want. And okay, so people are gonna start just messing around with that, of course. But I mean, that doesn't really matter because it's not ranked or anything. I mean, people are gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see them being able to do that, but it'd be pretty funny.
Well, I mean, every time a game has like an online thing, that's something because you can control that. You can make sure that people don't play with, like, they don't go in and edit characters or something like that. But for the offline, I mean, I remember back in the days I used to play Diablo 2. Did you play that game?
Yeah, I played Diablo.
Now
And-
I am in focus.
oh god. I was talking here. I'm trying to talk here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so go away.
You salty Asian.
Actually,
Are
don't
you in
go
the
away. You can stay and listen.
Are
We
you
used
in
to
the
play-
Danish team?
We used to play Diablo 2
Salty Asian
and
kid?
the hero editor. And one day we played the normal campaign. I think we were 7 people, something like that. And I started cheating because I was a little bit bored. So I just created a small rune that gave me some extra EXP so I would level up faster. And I actually did this for a while before anyone noticed. And then they did, because why are you 3 levels higher than us? We've been playing the exact same game for the exact same time. I'm like, yeah, it's because I'm so much better than you guys. And we kept doing this. And when they realized, we started to one-up each other. So someone created like this OP weapon that dealt, like a ton of damage. So I did a huge arm or something like that, and he just kept going. Except for one guy. He just sat there quietly in Hero Creator, and he just didn't say anything, didn't do anything. He just sat there and he just did his own thing. And the rest of us just kept playing and kept killing each other in PvP with OP weapons. And then all of a sudden, like 8 hours later, he joins the game. And we're like, what have you been doing? Oh, I created a dagger. So he goes in with this dagger, like this dagger, and he attacks us once, and the whole server crashed.
Oh.
The entire game, it just went dead. No one knew what just happened. And we're like, what the hell was that, and what did you do? So his explanation was that, yeah, I did this dagger, and I made every single spell in the game happen at the same time when you attack with it.
Was it called Sang's mom?
No, that's a really bad joke. We call it the World Slayer. We call it the World Slayer.
The World Slayer.
That's
Yeah.
a fitting name, actually, considering the server crash or
Yeah.
whatever. So.
I miss those good old days. I miss being able to do that in games. I mean, League of Legends, if I could like go to Nidalee, and when she auto-attacks, every single spell in the game erupts at the same time around this small area, and Baron spawns and he eats the enemy,
Oh,
that would be
God.
awesome.
You know what would be actually
Sounds
fun
pretty
though?
funny.
Every Nidalee out attack is actually a Q. Build that with 2.5 attack speed and AP.
That almost sounds like the ultra rapid fire.
Right, I was thinking about Earth mode as well, because that's how it feels.
Yeah, kind of.
You simply just, you spam Q.
Yeah, it's
in
like
Earth
3
mode.
spears a second.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I remember, do you remember Earth mode 1 for all?
Was there one Earth mode,
Was
one
there?
for all?
I think at least, or I might remember this incorrectly. No, I believe I've played, because I believe I played a mode where you had Nidalee and you spammed your spears absolutely everywhere, and it was ridiculous. I could be, I mean, I could have dreamt it. It does sound like something I
Sounds
would
possible.
dream about. It totally does, but I don't think I did. I think this
I-
actually happened.
It might have been for sure. I didn't play all the modes they released. I did play the rapid fire and so on, but yeah.
I mean, did you... oh, we got a tweet. Jolle Svantesson. Nu gör vi en hashtag TB av gårdagen. Boys at Flaxish Memento. Låt säga vi samma. You know what? You can read about yourself. And that's so beautiful.
Some nice
That's-
photoshopping.
Yeah, that's some great photoshopping going on right there. That's about my skill level in Photoshop.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And that's
I told my
Pretty damn
friends
good.
I had a time machine and they didn't believe me, so I photoshopped my own face into a DeLorean, just a small one, and it said, and then I sent it to him. It just said "true story," and I think that was my masterpiece. I think
the
that's
masterpiece.
yeah, that's like the best Photoshop I've ever made, and I'm proud of saying that.
Sounds pretty impressive.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
It was my face in a DeLorean. I mean, that's some great
Pretty damn good.
Photoshop.
We're gonna do the roster one more time. Can we get the awesome? Yeah, there we go. And for the 80 carry, once again, we have Sang, also known as the Salty Asian Kid, but with Crit Bud, or now known as Critter Butter, right? Sang?
Yeah, exactly.
Critter Butter, yeah.
Critter Butter.
We have the support Anders Wind, the jungle Broxa, and the top Homer Capason / Nuke for some reason, and the mid Catania Uraka. And then we have Sweden, AD carry Sampe, the support Hustling Beast with the jungle Momento, top lane Flaxish, and the mid lane Swiss. Or Civis.
Civis. It's not that hard to pronounce.
It is.
Is it? Is it?
Civis.
Vardax? Is it hard to
I don't
pronounce
know.
Civis?
I think a lot of people have trouble with Vardax as well, so it's
Well,
understandable.
yeah, but they're not Swedish, so
Yeah.
no one cares about them. They're not
That's true,
Swedish. And the Swedish
No worries,
ADCs,
We're
Swedish
definitely
ADCs
not
are
a-
the best.
Yeah, we're definitely not a biased caster, by the way.
Totally not.
We're not rooting for
No,
Sweden.
absolutely
Absolutely
not. Not rooting for Sweden, the beasts from top lane, the Vikings, and there we are, right in that screen, because that's just how the production is gonna make it. Here, hi, say hi, Vardags. Say hi. Did this happen to you in LCS?
No.
No,
It would
no.
be pretty
It-
interesting.
it's-
in
no,
the-
but this is not LCS. This is King of Nordic, and stuff like that does happen here because that's just how awesome we are. But you know what else is awesome? Sweden is awesome. And here is Civis, the main laner from the Swedish team. And here we got Crit Bud down bot lane, the ADC for Denmark.
Once again, I think you're actually searching for awkward. The word is actually awkward.
This awkward cast we're doing at King of Nordic, where nothing goes wrong and everyone knows exactly what to... Yeah, see, the joke was an awkward silence, but you sort of ruin it with your laugh. So now it's not funny anymore.
I mean, doesn't that like just state the whole thing with that awkward
dream.
production though?
Yeah, it sort of does. It sort of does.
Yeah.
You know what?
So-
We're gonna focus on the game right now. We're just gonna ignore you right now, love.
Aw.
But you will be back, so don't worry. We're gonna miss you.
You will all see me later.
Yes, we will. And oh,
We have a tweet here,
Rocksha,
by
tell
the way.
the commentators that I am the king of Nordic. Well, if you are the king of Nordic, then you know how to spell I with a big I and not the small one. So we're just gonna ignore that. And we're gonna see main lane where Captain Araka playing Yasuo versus Civis on Corki.
Yeah, I definitely see this as being a really favorable matchup for Yasuo as well. Corki's gonna have a really hard time dealing with him as Yasuo just has the wind wall to block pretty much everything Corki has to shoot at him.
At the
So-
same time, I really thought it was gonna be Lulu mid lane. Yasuo's gonna go versus Irelia.
And yeah, I mean, when Lulu went through the teleport, we kind of had like a tell that she was gonna go top, and it's not that bad against Irelia because you do have the polymorph. So Irelia is scary when she can jump at you and all in you, but Lulu has a lot of things to counteract that with her shields, her ultimate, and also the polymorph.
And right now, the poke, looking at that, no ignite on Homer Capazone, doesn't even matter, would have had a kill if he had the ignite right now, but Flaxish taking way too much damage, gonna have to back away, he needs to flash even though it's the first blood with the glitter lands! Flaxish making a huge mistake going down, and I did not expect that to happen. Down bot lane, we're gonna see the replay again. Flaxish up top lane, getting that first blood over to Homer Capazon. Bot lane now, we're gonna see Critibutter taking a little bit of damage, but of course, this is gonna be a really annoying lane to play against versus Raka. The heals are always so annoying to handle.
Yeah, and just talking about the kill that happened real quick, you could definitely see Flaxish not respecting the level 2 on Lulu. Looking at the minion wave, we could tell that Lulu was gonna get the level 2 before Irelia was, and when that happens, it doesn't really matter what lane you are, bot or top. Mid, not as much, but for those two lanes, you really need to respect the level 2 power spike for all lanes.
Homer Capazon now in a little bit of trouble. Flash being used by Father Memento. Homer Capazon, of course, used Flash earlier. Gonna get chased down now. Homer Capazon gonna be absolutely demolished up there. Meanwhile, bot lane Critibutter dealing a lot of damage onto Sampe, but let's talk about that top lane kill.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Flash needs to kind of respect. You kind of see the same early game mistakes as in the first game, where he's just not respecting the enemy team enough, where he's getting caught off guard, where he doesn't really need to be. Fortunately though, this time Memento was there to give him a follow-up kill on Lulu, which actually puts him in a pretty good position as he's out in farm.
And also Homer Capazon just overextending a little bit up there, not having the flash.
Yeah.
Rocksha in main lane, trusting a good spear, but of course Valkyrie is gonna be used. And this is a pick we talked about a little bit before the game started. We see Nidalee, not the greatest jungler, I would say. But up top lane, Father Memento is on the job again. Homer Capazon, of course, still no flash. Gonna be tanking this turret. Not gonna be... Oh, actually going to be able to get it. Red buff gonna finish. Broxha down bottom, tanking a little bit of turret damage, using the heal on himself. Hustling Beast that needs to flash away to avoid the damage from the spear. Going to be able to get it. And there's another pause. And I believe that maybe one of the players are having some technical difficulties.
Are we pausing because of the replay though? Is this
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No.
Okay. One thing I want to talk about. Can we get any information on the new champion so we can like comment that while we're waiting for this pause?
I really don't know, and you know what? The game is gonna start. So
in 1 second.
yeah,
I will leave you.
but
to
hold
yours.
that thought. It's a good thought. I enjoyed that thought.
Yeah, and as we saw in what happened earlier, is that's really good by Mundo here to abuse that Lulu doesn't have the flash. And while Irelia has the pressure with the stun, they're really using that to their advantage.
Yeah, and Civ is having a really bad time in lane. That actually could have been an Ignite use. I'm surprised it wasn't. Down bottom, here goes a tower dive. Not sure, although, but this is going to be enough. Broxha keeps chasing, not hitting every spear, but has the red buff, and is going to force Sampe away. And okay, so this tower dive, I thought it would be too ballsy going for it, but they actually managed to do it quite early.
Yeah, I think it was good executed by Leona, how she hit the Zenith Blade on Delusion and then decided to flash stun the Soraka. Because
Broxha now still on it, gonna keep chasing off this and going to get another kill. Father Memento has arrived, going to hit one, and he's going to hit another one very soon. There's the turret, and there's the kill. Not gonna get caught by Hustling Beast instead, because he knows that a good support does not steal kills from the jungler.
And the only thing I wanted to add really to the dive was more that it was a good play by Leona to hit the Zenith Blade and then flash stunning Soraka afterwards, but it was a bit of miscommunication, I'd say, because as she was doing this play, Nidalee wasn't really throwing her spear on the target, so I don't think they communicated down exactly what they wanted to do, as she has missed the spear and could have potentially been 2 kills, and that would have resulted in Nidalee surviving in the end.
Captain Araka now still pushing mid lane really hard versus Civis, not even level 6 yet, but Father Memento is there again. And Father Memento, both of these games have really been at these spots where he is needed, although the first game he was a little bit less tanky early. Now as Mundo, he's just, well, he's going where he pleases.
Yeah, I definitely like these movements in this game. Like he's really been using what he needs to.
Top lane now, Homer Capazon getting caught out again, and Broxha as well going down. Fundamental on a killing spree. Flaxish now 2-1-2. That's a really scary Irelia, and so far no reaction at all from the Danish team into how they're going to try to get back from this.
Yeah, and Memento has just been at the right place at the right time right now, and that's why they managed to get so many kills. I think the biggest problem here when Nidalee tried to gank top lane, or counter gank rather. Oh, I'm gonna hold that far for a second. Some action ball lane. Anyways, as that was going down, the trouble was just that Irelia was level 6, and so was Mundo. And then you look at blue side, and you see Nidalee and Lulu on level 5. And there's no way you're gonna win that 2v2 at such a level disadvantage.
And I mean, Father Memento, as we're talking about, for his jungling is actually really great this game. He is everywhere at the same time. And Mundo would not, to me, be considered one of those junglers that you feel has the mobility. But the way Father Memento has played it, he's simply not wasting any space on the map. He's just walking exactly to the places where he needs to be. Here comes the all-in. Look at that damage! All being used by Homer Capazon immediately to counteract the all-in from Flaxish.
Yeah, you can definitely see there's a lot of pressure on the Lulu right now.
So sorry about that. I believe that was my mic.
And
yeah, sorry,
as I was saying, it's really scary now that Irelia starts getting ahead, because she's one of those really snowbally champions, and she has that sheen, and she's building towards that Rage Blade. So she has a lot of pressure on Lulu.
And we saw what Rage Blade happened that last game. And now if he gets it earlier, that's going to be even worse. And now Homer Capazon not having teleport yet, not having any mana. I'm not sure if he has enough for a polymorph if there's an all-in and a tower dive from Flexish.
And I think here's kind of what we talked about in Champions League.
Now Broxha getting another cleaver into the face, and Civis easily picks it up. Broxha not having the best day of his life. And I'm sorry, but you might not have the best game day either, because I keep interrupting you.
Oh, it's just a lot of sudden action going on, and we might see even more if Mundo can find an opening in the bot lane.
He's really looking for it. And yeah, this is one of those really fast-paced games. We're not having enough time to talk, you and I.
Yeah, but as I was saying, in Champions League with this Nidalee pick is that I really like the Danish team comp, but the problem is with Nidalee, she doesn't really fit in. And also, what she would need to do...
Oh, that's a good ult coming out from Anders Wind. The silence, though, is gonna stop the channeling. Hustling Beast now getting caught out instead. Anders Wind tanking that turret forever. Flash comes out. That's one kill. Ignite is also on Hustling Beast. Flash being used at the same time, getting one kill from that. But Father Memento now ulting, going in for this. Gonna keep chasing after it, using heal. It's gonna keep him alive for a while, but is this gonna be enough? Another cleaver gonna miss now. Critter Butter tried to run away, but the auto attacks will be finishing the job. Another cleaver to the face, or rather the back of the head, and that's another kill for the Memento. Now chasing him. Here comes Crew Captain. He's gonna be able to try to get this, but no, he will not. Broxha will be able to run away from this. Has to run because of the teleport from top lane. Not gonna finish channeling though, and it's gonna be 2-for-1.
Yeah, and it's just pretty much non-stop action right here, just fighting back and forth all the time. And as I was saying again, was that Nidalee in this team comp kind of needs to snowball the early game, and looking at how strong the Mundo got, it's not gonna get easier for their team to deal with him, and he's just so much stronger than Nidalee in pressure.
Look at that, it's a 5-0-3 Mundo. And it's only been 10 minutes. Flaxish up top lane too. He has 2-1-2. He will be able to have his Rage Blade really early, getting that turret also for the global goal of his team. And, I mean, I was talking about before that I didn't truly believe in a team comp that has Corki and Lucian as sort of the heavy damage dealers, because Mundo and Soraka, if they fall behind, or if a team falls behind, they can't do very much. They have to rely on the rest of the team dealing the damage. Now I feel Mundo is the damage dealer instead.
Yeah, they're really far ahead. I mean, they have a 2k lead now at 11 minutes, but at the same time, this goal lead is mostly on their jungler and top laner. And if we look at Mundo right now, he's sitting on 2,300 gold in his pocket, so his next base is going to be massive, as he's going to be able to pick up a lot of items. And once he does, I don't see the Danish team being able to contest much objectives at all. So, considering how strong they are on top side, I would like to see them going for the mini barrel. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I keep forgetting as well. I keep forgetting that too.
Yeah.
But you know, what
I'll get used to it eventually.
Mostly worried about is we see the Rage Blade on Irelia. We see Mundo with huge items coming out here and a huge lead as well. And Corki is gonna have his Trinity Force pretty soon. And when all of that hits, that's gonna be just Sweden just walking all over Denmark.
Yeah, I hope to see them using this power spike now and not dragging it out for too long, because if they do let it go late game, they're gonna have a lot of trouble with a Yasuo scaling so well. Yeah. As we can see now, Yasuo having his shield, that's a really big damage spike for him, and we can see if he maybe... Oh.
Actually, see some, but taking a little bit too much damage down there. Broxha also in place for another tower dive, but this time Father Memento is here and they're going for it. The turret is going down, but Father Memento is a turret by himself, tanking it all up, actually taking way too much damage right now. See Lucian trying to deal the damage from the side, instead Broxha chasing after this, but instead now the damage is gonna be on Hustling Beast. Broxha not hitting that spear, and Father Memento tries to run away, and now Homer Capison is there instead, dealing the damage, caught underneath the turret, gonna get one kill, but it's going to go down finally, and Father Memento now 1 versus 1 with Broxha. Captain Rocket is gonna be 2 versus 1, but Broxha will not be able to survive that. Captain Rocket finally getting that shot down, but I'm not sure if it was worth it.
I mean, for now, when Mundo was this big, getting that shot down is so worth it. Considering how the shutdown now works as well, it's not the traditional shutdown where the one who gets the kill gets all the gold. As it's shared between the teammates, that's really big pickup for them, and Yasuo also got... Oh.
And Yasuo got ult up, chasing after Civis, who has barrier, has to use flash as well, but that's not the situation where you wanna be forced to use flash and barrier. That was a big misplay coming out from Civis.
Yeah, definitely, and this is actually really scary for Civis now, as Yasuo also has quite some money on him. He has 1,400 gold, so once he starts getting that Infinity Edge or Triforce, we'll see what he decides to go for. It's gonna be really scary for Corki to even be there to wave player against him.
And it's looking like it's gonna be an Infinity Edge. And Flaxish, meanwhile, is picking up that blue buff like it ain't a thing, because he is so much ahead up top lane.
Yeah, and Irelia will, yes, keep pushing all the time. We saw Lulu trying to make a play on the bot side, where unfortunately she missed the last glitter lens, so she had to keep going in deep on the turret to actually pick up the kill on Soraka, and ended up paying with her life for it. That might be a bit troublesome for her, as Irelia was just staying top lane, farming up, and becoming even stronger.
And I do believe that you were right saying that it was worth for Denmark overall, the fight, but it was all worth just because of getting that shutdown on Father Memento. Because for the dive they did, for all they committed, they lost a lot as well. Meanwhile, Flaxish was just up top lane, chilling, pushing turrets, getting blue buffs.
Oh, well, no, we have smash.
Captain Oraken now will be able to get a kill before he goes down. He keeps trying to, not pushing that wind wall in a quite good place. Rocksha getting Civis, meanwhile in mid lane. Captain Oraken still alive down here. Gonna run away from this, but the culling is gonna finish it. That's what the culling is for, finishing off enemies, and it's exactly what it did. So once again we see a lot of fights at the same time all over the map. This time a mid lane turret went down. Denmark managed to get that and a solo kill on Civis. At the same time Captain Oraka went down bot lane.
Yeah, and this was pretty interesting as we see both teams trying to make plays on different sides of the map. As we see Captain Oraka getting a bit caught on the bot side. Meanwhile Civis got caught in the mid lane, and they managed to actually get a turret in mid, so they ended up going ahead in that trade. And meanwhile, Lulu and Irelia was just farming on the top side.
And this is the second time in a row. Actually, I just realized that Civis didn't die from that. Or did he?
Yeah, Civis died,
Yeah. Wait, I'm a little bit confused because I thought Tower died. But you know what? I'm just gonna forget about that. Let's just not talk about it. I thought Civis had died 2 times, but he has not. He only died once.
And quickly I was gonna do the explanation on how the new shutdown works as well. As the Mundo died when they got the kill. I believe he was on the maximum shutdown goal, and how it works now is that the shutdown doesn't completely reset. It's set down to 2 stacks, as you can see next to his level there. And as they reset that, that's a lot of value for their team, as if he does get more kills, that shutdown is gonna be worth a lot of money still.
So if a player gets ahead, you can now get back the goal he took even more, just simply from getting more kills on that player. So it's going to be harder for one player to be the main carry now. It's basically what that means from Riot's point of view.
Well, yeah, basically, as we have Mundo in the picture here, we can see like the 2 dots next to his name, and as we have a team fight probably breaking out in a second.
Yeah, Underswin really looking for this team fight, but now getting Silence instead, taking way too much damage, is using it all on Father Memento. That's not going to be the one he wants to see. Yes, Captain Oraka looking for a great, oh, he gets it! That's a huge combo coming out, shut down on Flaxish. Civis now turning it back again, Rocksha not having enough damage to help in this Critter Butter as well. The damage simply wasn't enough. It was huge, but versus Soraka, versus a Mundo, they don't have enough heal reduction to finish it. Up top lane, Flaxish went down as well, but look at this again. The combo was so strong, but Civis survived it anyway, and that's going to be a turret bot lane and 1 mid lane.
Yeah, they managed to get a really strong combo there with the Yasuo ultimate. Unfortunately for them, they aren't strong enough in items right now to actually execute that and finish off the targets they need to. And that's why we ended up seeing the Swedish team actually get ahead so well.
I mean, I wanted to scream when they kept chasing for that, because I just saw them line themselves up for a huge Yasuo ult. But you're absolutely right, Yasuo did not have the item, so even with crit, it doesn't have that much AD. Didn't deal the damage he wanted to. Homer Capison now, all of a sudden, at the wrong neighborhood, gonna run away from that. I think that's a good idea. But, bot lane, once more. The damage just wasn't there. And again, Nidalee does not take part in that AoE Wombo combo. She doesn't do very much. Now seeing Valkyrie being used, Captain Oraka getting caught out again. This time will not be able to get a huge ult. Gonna take a cleaver. Well, he's probably gonna take a cleaver at least. And there it goes. And there he goes. And again, the killing spree on Father Memento.
Yeah, and as we can see now, Mundo's back to that maximum killing spree bonus, so they would like to kill him for that bonus, but the problem at the same time is that he's Mundo, and he's a really tanky Mundo.
But that is so interesting also because, I mean, if it's one of the carries that gets all the kills, that is something now that you will be able to punish, because the carries are going to be focused anyway. So you just say, thank you, if I kill this carry I even get more gold, and I really wanted to kill him anyway, so it's no problem. Now if they want that gold, they have to focus Mundo, and that on the other hand is not what you want to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we can also see them now getting the Rift Tile, so
Who's
we
gonna
can
get
see...
it? It's Sampe.
It's given to Sampe, and we can see now if they will group up and try and use the lead they have to get some turrets with this.
And this actually is very needed, because last game we saw one team getting the early lead, not using it all the way. Finland could not take it all the way to the snowball and the win. Now Sweden, they're slowly getting more ground, getting ahead, and with this Rift Herald, it's going to be really important to see if they will be able to get an inhibitor, because that's the only thing they can do now in the lanes.
Yeah, I think for the Danish team, they desperately need to do whatever they can to defend Inhib, because if they end up losing one, even though they have kind of a poor siege on the Swedish team, if they start managing, if they can manage to defend their base, we can definitely see it snowball really fast against them.
I mean, at this point where our team has the advantage, it's so risky, because if you don't have, like you say, a really good siege comp, you still want to be able to get those inhibitors. If you get one inhibitor, that means you can pretty easily take the rest of the game, because the pressure is going to be so huge. But before that point, it can still go almost any way. Roksha getting chased down, avoiding these as best as he can. Father Memento keeps chasing it for a long time, and look at all that damage he is taking. It does nothing on him. That was all the damage that the Danish team had.
Yeah, and we can see the Danish team really trying to get their shutdown goal, and they focused the Mundo a lot, and they didn't even manage to get him below 50% HP, and that can spell big trouble for them once the team fights are starting.
They used everything to get Mundo, and they couldn't do it. And now Sweden going for the split push, going for the Baron. Broksha almost getting caught again. The problem with Mundo, he really needs to hit those cleavers, or the briefcases in this case. But oh, you're still here?
I am still here.
I got so caught off guard. I'm like, who said that? Oh, look now, Flash is going for the 1v1 kill. He really wants it, but the damage actually is quite good from Homer Capison as well.
I am here to save your lacking humor.
Well, that's... okay, so thank you. I get Homer Capison going to try to get the outplay, and Flax is taking way too much damage, going down finally, but Baron getting started at the same time. Now from the side, Broksha wants to try to steal this, wants to try to deal damage at least, getting a lot of damage on Hustling Beast as a Soraka. That is a huge problem. You won't be able to heal as much. More spears being thrown down. Broksha now trying to avoid the damage. Underswind is also here. Flash being used, not enough. Father Memento on a rampage. Baron Nashor down. Flax just will not be able to enjoy it, but the rest of the team will. Underswind now turning back, trying to deal some damage at least before he goes down as well. That's 3 players down right now for the Danish team, and Sweden got Baron.
And we could see how desperate Italy felt about stealing this Baron. She was putting all the eggs in one basket, trying to get in there and actually try and steal it. Unfortunately for her, it didn't work out, and
oh, teleport now onto Critter Butter. Critter Butter got nowhere to run. Teleport wasn't even really necessary, but I mean, Flax just wanted to get there anyway, so no problem. Not just gonna ignore Dragon as well. I'm really glad for that, because at this point, going for Dragon, to me, when you have Baron and you can go for inhibitors, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, definitely, especially now that he got the pick on Cripod.
And look at Father Memento tanking all, and Underswind tries to go in. The knockup is there, but Captain Rock couldn't follow. Flax is now on the job instead. Look at the damage on Homer Capison. Sampe is on a rampage as well. Inhibitor is wide open, and everyone still has so much HP in the Swedish team. They got the creeps here, they got the Baron buff, they can just keep going for it. There are 3 men trying to defend this, all being used by Critter Butter. Still not enough. Civ is just one attack is going to be enough to push them back. The turrets are going down. Next is wide open. See Flax is just flaunting his skills, jumping up on that. Okay, that's not too much skill actually being used. Next is still open. Flash being used. That's the game. Sweden takes it home, and that's 2-0 so far tonight. And yeah, wow.
That ended really quickly. We could see how fast it snowballed to a win. And I think that just speaks for the patch right now. This is just how the games are going. One team gets ahead and snowballs really hard. They got the Baron, they found a pick on Cripbud, which basically led to the game, because they just went bot lane, got the inhib, while the Danish team tried to defend, they just got more picked off, and that basically led to them losing their
And
nexus.
also, Anders Wind, he wanted to go in for the Wombo. He was really looking for it, and I think in a situation where they were just a little bit more equal, they could have gotten it. But we could just see Memento being this huge tank. Speaking of juggernauts, I mean, this is what a juggernaut is supposed to do. He executed it perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. I think Flaxish and Memento played it really well. After Flaxish overstayed and actually got punished for level 2 and died 1v1 for First Blood, they used it really well that Lula had no flash. So over and over again he has ganked top lane and used it, and they got so far ahead on both Irelia and Mundo, which basically led to them snowballing the game.
And I feel like we're seeing something here from Flaxish. He keeps giving away early game for no reason at all, and then suddenly just doing a huge comeback, getting a lot of help, of course, from Memento as well.
Yeah, I think we see it both times, like kind of how he doesn't respect all the things that can happen in the early game and gets punished for it.
Yeah. I have to say, I know he's listening to this. I know he's gonna he's gonna hate us, and I'm sorry, man, but that's what you have done so far. So,
but apart from that, once he gets the Rage Blade, he really does know how to use that well, and he's just snowballing that really hard. And I wouldn't be surprised to see in the last game someone banning Aurelia and see if they can force Flaxish on something else, because we definitely see now in both games that no team has really had an answer to split push. Aurelia has get these core items, and no one can deal with her.
And I'm really not sure, once again, about the team comp, because I have a problem with Wombo combos. They look really good on paper, and you're thinking, like, if I can manage to get this, everyone is just gonna get obliterated in seconds. But the problem is just getting it. That's it. You got one win condition. If you manage to hit that every single team fight, that is your win condition. If you don't, you are sort of spread out. You don't have that sort of synergy together as a team. And that was my big concern looking at this team comp.
Yeah, for them, they really have to have the kind of team coordination where they can just set everything up the way they need to. Like, they need to set up the vision to be able to see where the enemies are coming from, to be able to plan their big Wombo combo correctly. And that way they just need to have the right kind of setup to do what they want to do. But they never really got there in this game. And that's why we just saw the split push, and Mundo being as tanky as he was, nobody could deal with him at all.
No.
And they just ran completely over the Wombo combo. It didn't matter at all.
And that's also something I want to talk about, actually, because to me, the end of the game, the big mistake that Denmark did was to try to kill Mundo at the time when they bursted everything. I mean, they used Leona ult, they used Misfortune ult, everyone just burned every CD except for the ults for Yasuo and for Lulu, but they couldn't even deal half of his HP.
They actually burned the Lulu ulti on Mundo there.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
I thought I checked it just
Lulu
after,
is
but
on the enemy team. Lulu is not on the same team as
No, but they burned to get him knocked out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but I
right.
thought she didn't do it. I didn't think she did, but you know what? Doesn't even matter.
They just used a lot to try
They
and kill
used
him.
every single damage dealing ability except for Yasuo's ult to try to kill him, and they couldn't budge him.
Yeah.
And from that point, you can just see Sweden, they just move straight towards Baron. And the sort of response coming out from that was an attempt to try to stop him. So Brockshaw just walking around there trying, but no one can get close to Mundo without dying. Simply, so they could just simply chase everyone down, and from that point it just spiraled out of control. Sweden got Baron finally. They got more kills, more picks, and then they could brute force inhibitors.
Yeah, you could see how they underestimated his tankiness, because they had the wards on and they saw that, oh, Mundo's alone in mid lane. The rest are not close. Let's go. And they just blow everything to try and get that goal, but they just underestimated how tanky he was at that stage. They didn't really have any kind of damage that really good against Mundo, because their main source of damage is AD, and at this point he had so much armor that there was no way they were going to burn through him.
And it's an AoE spell as well, so I mean, it doesn't deal that much single target damage, so they can't burn through it. And they don't have any heal reduction, I think, either. They might have used an Ignite, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they do have 2 Ignites, so they might have used one if they had it available, but even so, it didn't nearly budge the Mundo.
No, I mean, okay, so Mundo, we know that Mundo is OP. We're gonna see him. Mundo OP, everyone, you heard it here first. Mundo is OP. Not gonna play him anymore. You know what? We're gonna go over to the Swedish national anthem once again, and we're gonna send it back over to Love.
So at first we're gonna have the roster and the Swedish anthem, and we're gonna see Sweden facing Norway. So one thing I want to talk about while I'm here, when I have the attention, all the attention, oh my god! I want to ask you guys over there at the casting table, how much has the Rift Herald actually like profited to the game? Like, how big is this new change of the Rift Herald? Is it bigger than Dragon or is it smaller?
You want to take this one, Pontus?
Yeah, I can take this one. Well, the Rift Herald is like just a mini power play of the Baron. Basically gives you the opportunity to, just use a buff and be able to get turrets in the early game. I think it's a big reason the games have gone to a faster pace, because people can't focus on the bot lane, and people can't just stall the game anymore because there's the risk of that early Baron buff that will just take down your turrets.
Yeah, I mean, what we see most of the time with Rift Herald is that if you already have a really good split pusher, you don't give that Rift Herald to the split push because it's going to split anyway. Instead, you give it to like the ADC, or in some cases, in like Sivers playing Cork, you give it to the mid laner as well, or Versalula, a ranged mid laner, and they got pressure on every single lane now. Turrets are going to go down no matter what the enemy team does. And I think that's huge, like you say, that's why the games finish so much faster.
Yeah, definitely, and depending on how early you take it, you have the option of who you're going to give it to. Like, if you take a really early one at maybe 7-8 minute mark, you most likely will only have the top laner and jungler if you get like a good catch. Because how the Rift Herald works is when you do kill him, is that he takes a lot of damage if you hit him from the back. So it's really hard to solo. I don't even know if you can solo him early game, but if you have 2 people at least, you can definitely take him down really early because of that damage bonus. So I kind of want to see in the future now, if they keep going for the split push, to maybe even try pressure top like they did in the last game, but do an even earlier Rift Herald.
I wonder if we're going to see more like sort of, traditional bot lane moving up to be traditional top lane instead, because if you have the ADC, like before you have it on the Dragon, but ADC makes it so much easier to take those early objectives, and it's not going to be called sort of, a lane swap anymore. It's just going to be simply, okay, so ADC and support is up a top lane. Yeah,
that could definitely be a pretty interesting thought, actually. Seeing if the bot lane could contest, because, as you say, if you have it on a range champion where you can buff the minions, it's so much easier for you to actually take down the towers. So, if you look at the current meta, where people still go bot lane, and if there is a lane swap, that lane swap push should definitely try and get this early Rift Herald, because you can get so many turrets that way. And just win the turret trade by far.
So I'm really interested in if bot lane is going to start being top lane instead. That's what I'm interested in. But Lo, what did you say?
I was going to interrupt you there, sorry. But so the Rift Herald actually gives you the minion buff, where your minion gets stronger. Is that a thing, or is that just not a thing?
Yeah. It buffs the minions, gives them more HP, more attack speed. I believe also you get more damage. I think maybe a 10% boost or something like that. So it's supposed to be like the mini Baron. But it only goes on one person. It goes on the person that gets lost it on the Rift Herald.
But I think it's a little bit too strong right now. It's like you get the Rift Herald and you're gonna get so much. You're gonna get turrets from that, and getting the turret, you're gonna get the global gold. It's gonna be able to snowball your team out of control.
Yeah, I think if you look at pre-made games, it will have a way bigger impact than if you look at like solo queue, because in pre-made games you have the coordination to actually use it correctly, and I think we haven't been able to see like too much, but hopefully now in the next game as well, we'll be able to see these teams actually really use the strength of the Rift Herald, getting it early game and just using that strength to get a lot of turrets and maybe have a as fast of game as last one at like 23 minutes.
Yeah, because the games are like you've been saying so much faster right now. But Lo, you want to say something else to us?
I wanna say that we're going to commercial right now. So sit back, relax, get yourself a drink, and then come back after commercial and see this epic final between Norway and Sweden. And here we go.
Esports Power Play.
Production room is muting my mic and they're starting to count 3 when I am getting into screen. Good job, production room. I actually knew when it was about to start, so F yours. I am here to talk about the tweeting. Hashtag King of Nordic. We might not always have the time to talk about or like read your tweet because we're covering the awesome team fights going on here at King of Nordic, but you will definitely get featured in the show if you tweet something interesting, if you tweet something awesome that you just feel should get featured. No offensive though, we don't want that toxicity in this community. And since I don't have any more to say, know how to join, never mind, we have the rosters. Here we go, for the Norway, my bad, my XMG Slemp, then we have the NDG Sharp, the hat tricks. He's getting 3 kills in a row all the time, apparently. And then we have the big, fat, and black. I wonder what you're referring to, sir. And then we have the Lions Norskeren. Is that correct? And once again, Sweden, for the first time in King of Nordic, winning, and 2 times in a row, we have Sampe, Hustling Beast, Memento, Fluxish, damn it, I am butchering this name, and Ceviche.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
it's not a food. It's not ceviche. That's a food.
Ceviche.
That is a food. That's not the
He's
same.
so delicious, I want to eat him.
Okay.
It's a food.
So now I'm uncomfortable. No, I don't want to talk about that anymore. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about this game instead, because Last week we saw this Norwegian team being so strong. These are absolutely some of the best players from Norway being picked out from different teams. So of course the synergy is not always going to be there, but individual talent is going to be huge. On the other hand, Sweden looking so strong, the same situation sort of. We're looking at really strong, talented individual players with some synergy between them. I mean, Memento and Flaxish has been playing really well together, but it's going to be so interesting to see how they're going to play versus each other now in Norway versus Sweden.
Yeah, the Swedish team have been like slumping behind a bit in the early game, and I want to see the Norwegian team here kind of punish them harder for it. If the same thing happen again, I want to see them get that early lead, but then don't let go of it. Like, yeah, just
yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, that's it. That's just want to get the early lead and don't let go of it. Finish the game. That's how you win. You win early and you win late and you win mid game. You win everything. Never let go of that win.
Can we say that they finished the finish?
No, we cannot. No, that's a bad joke.
Are we not trying to imitate Freak here? Puns of damage?
No one can imitate Freak because he's the pun master, so no one can do that. But you know what? Oh my god. You know what? Let's just move back here and ignore that guy. Because once again, I'm really happy that you are here. And what are your thoughts so far about the games?
I mean, the games themselves have been really interesting and fun to watch. Especially the last one, there was so much action like all around. It started really early in the game, just action back and forth. So it's really interesting and fun to watch. And we could kind of see the game end in 23 minutes, but nonetheless was enjoyable game to watch and cast for sure.
As you've been saying, it's really fast-paced. I mean, looking back, I feel like the game's standard should be around 35 minutes, something like that, where you end, because unless you get a really huge gold advantage early. But I mean, that's going to be really, really huge with the right team composition to finish earlier than that. So now, looking at these games, just getting Baron and bam, you finish the game. Getting just a small advantage, winning one fight, and then all of a sudden you got all of this momentum you get from the new items, and bam, you finish with that instead. I mean, it's like a different game.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have the old statistics, but I do know in this current patch, there was a statistic showing that in high elo, in Challenger, the average game time was 28 minutes.
28?
Which is absolutely crazy, which means that teams that go for these early kind of team compositions and can get this early lead are most likely going to end up winning just because the games are so much shorter, because people know how to get that early lead with the Rift Herald and just the early Barons, and with that, it's usually enough to keep that other team like kind of under the water. Like, you don't give them enough room to breathe and get back in the game, and you just kind of keep the stranglehold on them and just finish the game.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see something like that once more this game. We're actually going to tell the players to go into Champion Select right now. We're going to see what happens. Because as you said, if early game is so important, we're going to see much more early game oriented team comps instead.
And here we have a tweet from Korean Science and Lewis at the end. You can't hide from me forever. Why is there a man-child in pajamas on the broadcast?
That's
because
the
I'm
same
awesome.
thing I'm wondering. That's actually me.
To make
tweeted
Sang
that.
uncomfortable, to
I
see if I
tweeted
can
that.
throw off the casters as much as I'm possibly able to.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. You're doing it. No, actually, I like your Kigurumi. I really do. It's sweet.
super amazing.
So pretty sweet.
It's okay. So no, okay. So please don't do that voice again.
Just to throw in here, on the blue side we have Norwegian, on the purple side we have Sweden, and the first bans are going like super fast. What is your comments on these three bans that we have seen?
It's what I would have talked about this if we weren't talking about your Kigurumi. And
Exactly.
if you didn't do these weird voices, that's
I am doing my
You're trying to
work.
do my job right now.
No, I am doing my work, throwing you
You're-
off and then helping you back up again.
You're not helping. It's like you're kicking me off the horse. You're sitting on the horse, and you're like, I'm the caster now. So
I am taking your place.
yeah, I'm the captain now. You know what? I'm not gonna try to do voices either because my voices are terrible. And we're gonna talk about these bands instead. We got Mundo, we got Nautilus, and we got Jack's band so far. And Soraka, Rex, and the last one was Tom Kench.
I mean, the Mundo is no surprise after their last game's performance. So the Mundo was banned in the first game as well, I believe. So the one game it wasn't banned and got played. So now we
It's
see,
sort of snowballed the
Yeah.
entire
and
game.
now we see getting taken out again. And same with Nautilus and Jax. Soraka, your typical kind of ban. Rek'Sai, that early pressure. We also saw it in the game, so it seems on play already. And Tom is just overall really strong support. Has that really good eat that you can just save your carries with. So solid, man.
But now I want to talk about something interesting, because we were just talking about how early game is so much more important now. And we're looking at Yasuo, who of course is really strong with the crit bonuses you get, but he's not a typical early game champion. You want him to get that spike around 3 items where he can burst with a huge AoE if he gets the ult.
Yeah, Yasuo is that kind of champion right now that is so strong, because just how he works with his passive, where he gets the double crit, already after 1 item you're over 50% crit. So if you have 60% and you basically crit every second auto, and you have the mastery that heals you, you basically don't need to get any sustain because you already have that for mastery, which is just absolutely massive. And Yasuo with a static shiv is massive power spike, and he has a lot of good early game damages as long as he managed to get his early game shiv.
That is really true, although what I feel about Yasuo is that the damage he deals only with the crit, it's not that huge. Also, he wants to go in with his ult, and he doesn't get that many auto attacks off because you want to burst quickly, you don't want to drag it out fight. So, will you actually be able to get that much in the fight you're looking for, a short burst fight, with that mastery?
The good thing about Yasuo is that if you manage to get your ult off, is that you have that one Q that's 100% gonna land, because you're gonna land and you're gonna Q instantly, which is gonna guarantee that hit. So depending on, obviously, on how many people you manage to get in the knockup, the more the merrier or so. But even if he gets only 1 target, that is potentially a lot of damage if he gets the shiv damage with crit, and then potentially not more auto attacks if everyone flashes away, but even so, that's a lot of damage.
It's very true, and we're talking about Yasuo a lot right now. We're gonna look at Tristana being picked, Thresh being picked. I really like these two, and the synergy you get with Yasuo as well, with the knockouts and the displacements. And we see Corki again being played for Civis. We see Sampe again going for Lucian, but this time with a Braum combination, and Father Memento finally getting that Lee Sin, who's been banned for the past 2 games.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see a Lee Sin now. I want to see how he uses it. It's a really strong early game jungler that has the potential to have these 20-minute games where you can snowball your lanes. What interests me though is that Civis is prioritizing this Corki so much. We haven't seen it do too much in these 2 games. I kind of want to see if he can do a bit more in this one, even though it's been pretty okay in both games. I just don't see why they would put such high priority on it.
No, actually, I do agree with you. I mean, Corki feels like one of those champions right now for Civis, where he deals damage, but not like anything special. He's not something like a Seer who gets ahead, or like an Orianna who can deal this huge AoE. Simply, he does what he does.
Yeah.
Not too sure about it.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Maybe we're wrong and he can show a bit more on the pick, but the good thing about it is that it does have that extra AP damage that they do that they changed in the patch. So,
and
yeah.
Looking also at Malphite being picked, we see a lot of focus around AD and a lot of focus around Yasuo. But with all this AD damage, not sure how the late game is going to be, if late game is what they were focusing on, of course, coming out from Norway.
Yeah, what we do see though is that they have the big wombo combo for Yasuo. At the same time, they do have the single target pickoffs with Elise into Fresh. But as you say as well, most of their damage output is physical. But what helps them is that Last Whisper is cheaper.
Yeah.
It's 1300 golds in this patch, which is actually really good for every kind of AD champion that needs to go this item. Because it's just so much more affordable in the early game that you can even go 3rd item Last Whisper and be happy because it doesn't cost you much. It's as expensive as a BF sword.
But not as effective anymore. It's a little bit less effective.
Yeah, but it still gives 30% armor penetration, which is really
bonus armor penetration.
Yeah. No,
right?
yeah. It gives 30% armor penetration, and then when you upgrade it, it gives 40. And then if you have the masteries, that's already like 7%.
But the changes to Last Whisper, right, was that they made it only affect the bonus armor. So instead of all armor you get now, you only get the effect on the items that you actually buy. So it's a little bit less effective than it used to be.
Yeah, it's a bit less effective, but at the same time, the base armor of most champions is not that high. And if I am correct in this, I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this. But I'm pretty sure that it's only MR that scales on levels on champions? It's one way or the other. It's either MR or armor that scales with levels.
You're correct,
I'm
Pontus.
actually
It's
not
MR.
sure.
Okay, good.
Oh, right. So there we
So
go.
then the base armor is not that high, so that change won't affect it too much.
Yeah, and we're gonna see, although Braum being played, so it's gonna be interesting to see if he will be able to stop all of that damage, if he will be able to get in a position where he can block all of those damaging ults coming out.
I think the biggest problem for Braum in this team comp is that Braum's shield blocks projectiles, and then you look at what he will block from this. He can block the tornado from Yasuo, but he can't block the Malphite ult.
And that is very, very true. We're gonna go to a short commercial break right now, but we'll be back, and I hope you will be too. Don't go anywhere.
Crickets. Chirp, chirp, chirp. There we go.
QPAD. Esports Power Play.
And we are back once again, and for the last time tonight. It's going to be now Norway, the Kings. No, actually not. Yes, it is Norway. Sorry, I was a little bit confused for a second. It's Norway, the Kings, versus Sweden, the underdogs, because Sweden has been looking so weak for these past weeks. Actually, that was not a pun. That was unintentional. But now, tonight, they're looking stronger than ever, going 2-0 so far, of course, because they are in the final, and now going up versus the current Kings from Norway.
Yeah, and one thing for the Swedish team is now that they've had 2 games, they've had actually quite a bit of warm-up. I'm not sure how much the Norwegian team has played, if they played some games, maybe a practice before this, but...
They might have.
Yeah, they might have, but I think for sure I remember when we used to play tournaments like this, when you did have the games prior for warm-up that could build up a lot of momentum for you, with, especially with 2 wins. You gotta feel really confident and good about the next game here.
But on the other hand, Norway got the chance of actually scouting out the enemies, and since Sweden hasn't changed their team so much, actually their team composition too much, they can actually be sort of prepared for what they're going to go against.
Yeah, I really want to see if they manage to use this information somehow. They do have a pretty disfavorable matchup on top lane, where we see Malphite against Vladimir, which is really good for Vladimir because he is pretty early game weak, and now that he can have such a matchup against Malphite, he can actually bully the Malphite early game and get a lot of free farm. which is exactly what he needs to get really strong into the mid game and late.
Yeah, definitely. Vladimir is not one of the strongest early game top laners. Neither is Malphite. But what I was actually thinking about this team composition is that I don't really like Malphite too much, just in general. I feel like he is picked from two reasons. Basically that we see double AD, although Corki is actually just half AD now, and we have a Yasuo on the team. So you're thinking Wombo combo again. But like I was talking about before, I really don't think Wombo combos are that good, because if you don't manage to land it, you got nothing. So it's an all or nothing sort of composition, and I never think all or nothing is a good way to play.
Yeah, and Malphite is especially like one of those champions. Oh, and we have
Oh,
Sebastian.
Civ is in a bad spot. Or actually, is he trying to bait something? Not sure, but Hatrix getting a lot of auto attacks off. Now lane swap, of course, we didn't talk about this, but it has happened no matter if we said it or not. Slamp taking a little bit of damage at the start. He's going to have to try to run into the jungle, maybe. Actually going to stay. Not sure about that decision.
Yeah. But as I was gonna say especially is that Malphite as a champion is one of those really all-in, like you go in with your ultimate, and once you do, you don't have that escape anymore. Like you don't have anywhere to go.
And I'm really, like I was saying, I'm not too fond of those champions, but of course they might be able to get it to work. What I do wonder is about this lane swap and the decision up top lane for Slamp to stick around. I mean, traditionally, if you read a lane swap, you want to go for double jungle mostly, but these teams, they're just sticking around, trying to defend turrets instead.
Yeah, I mean, this lane swap is pretty interesting now, because I didn't expect the Swedish team to go for the lane swap, as they have the Vladimir versus Malphite matchup. I think maybe they tried to predict the lane swap, so they were like, oh, they will swap for sure, so they send the Vladimir bot lane, but either case, the Vladimir is not getting punished bot lane, and is getting a lot of free farm, which will be a lot of trouble for the Norwegian team later on.
I mean, what we used to see before lane swaps, when instead of going for an early turret, you just froze the lane and you tried to starve the enemy top laner, that you would see the ADCs just freeze the lane immediately. Now everyone just keeps pushing, they keep trying to push these turrets and go sort of the new style of lane swapping. But right now, I would actually like to see either team just freeze the lanes instead. See, Husband is taking a little bit of damage, Sharp is down here, but I don't think they will be able to push this turret fast enough anyway. They're just dedicating a lot of manpower on the turret.
Yeah, for sure, and it's when you do the lane swaps, you have the options of either freezing the wave and getting a lot of...
Oh, the flash coming out and Civ is going down! First blood play from Hatrix. That's the first kill he needs. 2 more and he'll actually earn his name. But Civis will probably not be too happy about that.
That was really good by Hatrix, knowing that he got the barrier earlier from Civis and just really abusing that timer and going in for the kill when he knew he had the ability to.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's like Civis and Flaxish are the players I believe a lot of viewers will recognize looking at the Swedish team. And I feel like they're both a little bit known for throwing early game, to be honest. I mean, they make these mistakes. And I think these actually are both their strengths and their weaknesses, because they always play as if they are ahead. They simply seem to think that they can always outplay their opponents. And that's not always good, but looking at the way they play when they have an advantage, they always manage to come out on top. And I do like that.
Yeah. And looking at how this looks at the moment is that Vladimir is getting a lot of farm, but at the same time what they're losing out on is that turret damage, as Tristana, every time they push out the wave, she's using her explosive charge on the turret and just autoing it a lot for that AoE damage and also a lot of turret damage. So it's almost going down, maybe even in this push.
Yeah, I think it actually will go down right now. Also, Norstrin has been putting up the pressure, as always sending away those hooks as soon as the enemies gets close.
And what I would like to see now is that they just freeze the bot lane wave, have Malphite recall and go to bot side while their bot lane, the Tristana and the Fresh just goes top to take down another turret. With Tristana they can easily keep pressure on these turrets, while they have no reason to keep pushing bot lane.
Definitely. My concern, though, as you were talking about before, Vladimir versus a Malphite, means that Vladimir can easily just farm and he can harass and he'll have the out-sustain versus the enemy. But in this situation, oh, Norskiren now in a bad spot. Did not expect this. That's a 5-man gank. There's the stun. Norskiren going down, but actually manages to save Big Fat and Black for some reason I really don't understand. He actually gets away. Was a really good flash lantern, and that was it. Tristana just too good with the jumps.
Yeah, considering the situation they were in, how they got surrounded by 5 people, Flaxish using TP to topside now as well. It was a really good save by Fresh to manage to flash there with the lantern, so Tristana could get away without using summoners. So only ending up blowing 1 flash on Fresh is really good.
It was mechanically really great, although I'm a little bit concerned how the hell did the entire Swedish team manage to go bot lane without anyone really noticing where they were?
Yeah, well, it's basically just because they've been permanently pushing that bot lane tower, so they just been there pushing, while not getting any vision. And you could see that now as they were walking through a pink board in that tri-bush as well. They had no clue who were around them. And that's why it's so scary as well. If they don't do that transition to top lane, they have no clue what's happening in that jungle. And they got punished for going into no vision. And yeah, it's
something now going on to Norskiren. They know he doesn't have a flash. Really good avoiding all of the CEC. Norskiren so low, going to fall down. Fundamento though, also very low, getting chased down by Hatrix now, and Sharp getting it, and that's a really good all coming up. The knockups are there, although the damage wasn't quite. It's still gonna be enough because Tristana is there to finish the job. That's 4-man down for 1, and Norway, from a sticky situation where they didn't look too strong, look at that again. The knockups and the combos were absolutely amazing, and to get it with a Tristana now, getting a turret also so easy. Flaxish up top lane, burnt his teleport to get there, just gonna get some farm, might be able to get the turret, really not sure if he will, but that will cost not only the early game for Sweden, but might even cost them the crown. That was a huge mistake.
Yeah, and you can see how they were overreaching. They were trying to make plays where they shouldn't, as they had already used the TP from Flaxish to get to that top lane tower. Meanwhile, Malphite did have that TP advantage, and they were trying to get this fight anyways, and Malphite realized this, and they were like taking this fight 5v4, and they ended up winning huge. And now they're 3.4k ahead, and we can see if they can use this lead to actually close the game.
I mean, they really should be able to get a lot with this lead. That's a huge lead to get so early. And I mean, look at the kills they get. Yasu got 2 kills, 3 assists. And now Big Fat and Black, although getting caught, really bad position to be in. Even though you are Tristana, you can't really go that far, and it goes down to Sampa.
Yeah, it was a bit of a misplay from Big Fat and Black. He also still had his flash up, so he could have flashed the last...
Hook on Fundamento now, and there's the knock-up, there's the all. Fundamento though, going over the wall, getting a really good kick, actually also knocking off Norskiren while it's at it, and getting away from that. Flash burned on Hatrix as well.
Yeah, so that ended up being really worth it for Memento. I definitely think it's worth blowing the leasing flash for the Yasuo one.
Definitely.
So that wasn't too bad of a trade-off in the end.
And actually, Lee didn't flash, he just used his safeguard to get away. He didn't even have to use flash. Civ is now in a bad spot, once again taking way too much damage, has to back off. Civis doesn't seem to feel too good this game.
Yeah, he's been falling behind a bit.
Husband Beast now tanking up all the damage, but will he survive this? Not sure about it. Here comes the Glacial Fissure. Norskiren taking the damage instead. Good jump away by the flash from Sharp. Gonna finish it up. Will he have a Cocoon as well? So close to getting another kill. There comes the Cocoon. Way too late. Big Fat and Blad has arrived, but from the side of Memento, once again, always where he needs to be, and he will be able to just deter that potential tower dive.
Yeah, and as I wanted to say as well, if we look at the previous game with the same matchup, I kind of expected it to go kind of like this game. Because he also has such a... Oh, we have some...
Oh, there's the all Yasuo everywhere as well. Actually, the synergy right now with Hatrix is great, but the Nano Flash being used, a little bit of misplay, I would say, for Norway right now to be so split up on which champions they focus. They simply just go a little bit on everyone, and everyone that has Flash. So they really need to try to use those flash timers better.
Yeah, and
Well, speaking of flash, a good hook, but Hustling Beast comes in. Cocoon, though, manages to get through. No ult on Hatrix, not going to be needed. That's a kill. Norskin picks it up. Then from the side, Memento is there, although he doesn't have his Q up right now. Hustling Beast instead going down. Another hook. Norskin is on fire this game, and more kills going over to Norway. Sweden gets caught all the time, and they really don't seem to know what to do about it.
yeah, and they're getting in a pretty tough position here. We see Yasuo having that Shiv already, and it looks like he's gonna go for Trinity Force next with his item build. And he's getting really scary in these fights now.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, right now, Yasuo having this much advantage. Oh, something now, 1 versus 1, but Big Fat and Black not finished. It's really easy to actually mistake how much damage Tristana does. She stacks up those charging explosive shots onto you, and you don't realize until they blow. Now top lane Slamp instead, actually not taking too much damage, to be honest, just walking away from that.
Yeah, they don't have the damage to actually get them out by down now. They don't have enough CC to lock him down long enough for Vladimir Flaxish to deal the damage he needs to finish him off.
But speaking again of Tristana, I really love how you sort of don't realize how much damage she deals. She needs to get all of those charges off, of course, onto you. But when she did, all of a sudden, something was about to get bursted, and he didn't even realize. He just barely managed to get his heal off.
Yeah, it's one of those things you need. Oh, and we have catch.
Civ is now getting just a little bit caught, but you know what? He's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
And as we were saying, is that it's one of those things you need to pay really close attention to. Once Tristana uses her explosive charge and she starts shooting you, you need to really pay attention to the auto she gets and avoid it.
Oh, Hatrix now finally getting caught. We're not able to get out from this one. Also, the shield is up as well, although it managed to knock up both before he went down. Not going to be enough anyway. Norway still going for the dragon. They know that the Swedish team are a little bit preoccupied right now at bot lane, and the first dragon is going to, actually the second dragon is going to go down. It will go to Norway.
Yeah, and as we see here, it's probably gonna slow down for a little bit while Yasuo is respawning, and then I kind of want to see Yasuo either split pushing bot lane while the rest of them try to pressure a lot mid lane towards the Rift Herald as well, and see if they could get that onto one of their carries. I would consider it really good on Tristana. They manage to get that on her and just try and push turrets. Get that deep vision on the red side jungle.
Definitely. I mean, Tristana with the split, with the turret pushing power she already has, together with a Rift Herald as well, she will get those turrets in seconds. But now Hatrix, as you say, going for the split push, or rather going for the easy kill on the Flaxish, although missing that Empowered Steel Tempest, missing that hook, but finally that's gonna be enough, and Flaxish is going to go down. Rift Herald now wide open, while Sweden pushing mid lane instead, down bot lane. See Slamp, he has teleport, will not use it to mid lane, actually use it to go in from the backside instead, but turret's gonna go down before that, so this might be a good situation. They don't have it all, but here it comes, the AoE damage all as well from Elise will be enough. See who's smashing over the wall, see Hustling Beast now going down, they can jump again, Big Fat and Black will not jump actually before Sivas already goes down. That's 2 more kills, and Norway, why even bother? This team, the winners from last week, are looking to do it again.
Yeah, and we can see them really using that teleport to great effect. They see the opportunity of 4 people pushing down the mid lane, using the TP to get the flank with Malphite, and seeing as 3 people clumped up, just instantly pull the trigger, do that flash ultimate straight away, and managed to get a big knock-up, which resulted in 2 kills and even a turret.
I was looking at that situation and how the Swedish team were so clumped up, and I was like just begging, please, please, just move a little bit apart. You don't need it to be there. Oh, the Rift actually.
We see a bit of a misplay.
A little bit of a misplay. But you don't need to go so close to each other. I mean, what could you possibly gain from doing that? No matter what, even if you don't see Malphite, doesn't really matter. Oh, Civ is going hard, using Valkyrie to split up team, and Hatrix will go down, shut down being there. Civ is now taking way too much damage also. He will go down as well, a little bit delayed, but there it goes. Big Fat and Black getting it. Also, of course, died before it actually happened, and that was a huge misplay about the Rift Herald, basically.
Yeah, and this can be a pretty big comeback for the Swedish team. They managed to get 2 big kills, and if they get this Rift Herald as well, And if they manage to get turrets with this, that can be a really big comeback.
Definitely. Giving it over to Sampo, of course. And I mean, what I also love about Baron, that empowered recall you also get. I mean, it can feel like a small bonus, but I think it's huge because being able to recall faster, to be able to have the mobility around the map, it's so important.
It also gives you the opportunity to play so much riskier when you do go pushing, because you can go push so deep, and if the enemy is out of position, you can't just start recalling because you're back in base in like 3 seconds.
Exactly. So you can put your wards in places where you normally wouldn't have enough time to get away when you saw the enemy team. With Baron empowered recall, no problem. You will be able to get away.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna see if they manage to use this at all, or if the goal lead is still big enough so that it can't fight at all.
I feel like the gold lead shouldn't be enough, but of course it's all about where that gold has landed. A lot of it is on hat-tricks. Father Memento now getting caught, but he still wants to go for this play. We'll get a knock-up trying to get Norskren. We'll keep chasing for this actually, but the slow from Norskren is way too strong, and they will not be able to catch them. Meanwhile, up top lane, that's just so annoying. Hat-tricks just simply keeps pushing, doesn't even bother to try to help, gets a turret, and then the Swedish team has to walk away again, even has to burn teleport on Flaxish to get bot lane, and only get the farm actually.
And now we could see the Swedish team kind of feeling forced to make a play as they were getting split pushed on, as Malphite was down on bot side and Yasuo was pushing that top lane. Memento really felt like he had to make that play, which I don't disagree with. Unfortunately for them, they didn't manage to get any picks, which they really needed to, and they ended up losing a turret.
Really not agreeing with Flaxish using teleport either to get bot lane, because, I mean, you see Slemp down there, you sort of know that he can't just brute force this turret down, and even if he tries, then you teleport. But you don't have to teleport to get, I think what he gained was like maybe 10 lost hits, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was a bot premature for him to teleport bot this turn. And that will mean that Slam will have his TP out when Flaxish does not, which can be pretty big for them if they manage to use this and get a big flank with Malphite and have that flash up with TP.
And I mean, Dragon is up in 1 minute to get with a TP. Baron will be up very soon too, although I don't think they're going to go for Baron simply, but it's still a threat on the map that you have to handle.
Yeah, definitely. I think it will depend on where we see the team go. Where it depends on, like, where will they set up the vision? Because will they put their wards on blue side jungle, or will they do it on red side? If they do it on the blue side jungle, that means they will definitely pressure this dragon, which it looks like they're doing right now.
I mean, right now, Sweden has to play defensive, and they have to wait for the enemies to make a mistake. But Norway right now, I mean, the wards they have on the map, comparing to what Sweden have on the map, Sweden doesn't really have the information to capitalize when Norway actually makes a mistake. Although, Norway doesn't have a lot of wards inside the Swedish jungle, so Sweden could potentially try to set up for like a sneaky push attack, something like that.
Yeah, what I would like for the Norwegian team to do next is just, after they get this dragon, realize what they need to do next to close out this game. Where do we need to set up the vision? Do we need to pressure bot lane turret, top lane turret, or Baron? And then go to the respective jungle and put up the wards they need to be able to get that objective.
My biggest concern is I don't really feel like, of course, I want Norway to finish out the game just very completely, because I hate to see teams drag out games that should be won very easily for them. But on the other hand, Norway doesn't really have to close up the game, because they have Tristana, they have Yasuo, I mean, they have a huge late game damage dealing. And looking on the other hand, on Sweden, they don't really have that, although Sweden, what they have is a Baron, or they might have a Baron. And Norway, they must know about this, because there's no one here defending, and they decided they want the inhibitor. They don't care about Baron, they want the inhibitor instead. Not sure though about it.
That's a pretty interesting trade. I think it's more of a desperation play from the Swedish team, where they feel like...
Hat-tricks now, a little bit out of position. Getting a good knock-up, not gonna ult on that, of course. Instead, actually really wants this fight. There goes Malphite. There's the ult, just simply ignoring the Baron buff, going for the fight anyway. Flaxish now in the middle of Swedish team, going to go for it, going to deal a lot of damage, but not enough. That ult didn't really finish off anyone except for Honey Beast. Now, Energy Sharp going down instead. Father Memento He will get away from that, but on the other hand, now Slamp, Norsgren, Big Fat and Black so low. Sim is chasing after this. Norsgren sacrificing himself. No one is Tristana. Tristana is running, so no one has that reset ability, but they do have cooldowns, and they will be able to chase this down. Each and every one of them have some sort of way to try to slowly catch out their enemies. Not sure about it. Slamp actually looking like he wants to bait this right now. Does he have ult? Does he not even close to ult? We'll try to bait in on the third enemy. Big Fat and Black coming out now onto Civis. Civis almost gets a kill, but the disrespect is there. Slamp just walks in front of him saying, I don't care what you're gonna do. You're not gonna get that kill. There's the pause, and I'm not sure why the pause is there. Something might have happened. Let's look at that fight again.
And as we see on the replay here, they did get their free man and as the replay is cut off. But anyways, in this team fight, they did get their free man knock-up into a really good combo. But it might have been a bit too forced. I think they should have been happy with getting that inhib, as the enemy team is just coming back with Baron Recall, picking up a few items. I think they could have been happy with that inhib and has backed off safely.
Yeah, I do agree. I believe that they could do it. They sort of did, although they were a little bit of misplaced. I really do want to see that replay again, actually, control room. Since we're just in a pause anyway, I really want to see it. But what
There we go.
And that's not the replay we're talking about. But you know what? That's also a nice replay. That's also cute.
Oh, it's another
It's
bit of
another,
a combo.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Here we are.
We see
And
them
there's the
outside.
3-man knockup.
Yeah, and this is a really good combo. They didn't get that one knockup with Yasuo on Braum though, that's pretty weird, but... Or did they? I'm not entirely sure, but anyways, it's a nice combo. But it's
Why
a
is
bit...
it so slow?
I'm not sure, but it's a bit over-forced in the sense that when they just got back with Baron, they also have that extra ability power and damage, and they're fighting against this when they should be happy with using this inhib for as long as possible, because the fight is what the Swedish team wants. Because they took this trade knowingly that they would lose the inhib, and hopefully maybe catching a few people after the inhib. And when they commit to this fight, they kind of get what they want. And that's why we still see the gold lead at around 3k gold.
I completely agree with you, because I think that, like you say, if you want to sacrifice something, you sacrifice an inhib to get a Baron. You're fine with this. This is going to happen. And on the Norwegian side, they know enemy team got Baron. They have to know that the Swedish team will have an advantage in a fight, and they really don't need to fight. And not even do they like respond to an all-in from Sweden. They actually initiate it. And that's a huge overcommitment. They could have just recalled, gone back to that exact same place if they wanted to. I mean, that's not a good idea either, but they could have gone back to that same place and done exact same thing, but with their items instead. So yeah, that was a big mistake.
Yeah, I think the correct play for them would just be to recall, buy their own items after recalling, and then setting up Vision on the topside jungle and going topside, because you have the bottom in it. That means somebody is gonna have to be bot side to clear these minions.
Exactly.
And then you can just pressure the topside turret.
Although they can still do that. They can still do it. And together with Tristana, and together with a Yasuo who is this strong as he is, they will be able to get that. But, yeah, of course, like we talked about, it's a lot of throw, but it's a lot of gold you just give away to the enemy team for no reason at all.
Yeah, it's one of those riskier plays that if it works out, if they won that fight convincingly with that 3-man ulti, they could have potentially ended the game right there. So it was one of those plays, like high risk, high reward, basically.
I really don't... Yeah, I agree in a way, but I don't think the reward was enough for the risk. That's my problem with what they did. Even, like you say, even if they do win that fight, they might be able to finish the game with it. And if they don't win the fight, if they don't take the fight, they can still just, like we're talking about, go like this, go for the split push, and very clearly win the game with that.
Yeah, it's just the difference in like the slow and methodical gameplay and the more risky and fight heavy and kind of being greedy for the finish almost.
And it seems like it. And it might be that they're a little bit scared of the Swedish team. They might feel like they threw away the Baron, and they wanted to try to get a fight to sort of get it back, the lead they lost. But I'm really not sure about it.
I kind of like what they do now though. They noticed that Corki did have the package and also that they have the Baron buff, so they do play a bit more careful. And they're respecting what the Swedish team had and just trying to wait it out while Flaxish has to deal with the bot lane minions, which will take him forever.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be... Although, Flaxish also Did Flaxish die in that fight? I'm really not sure. Does he have Baron buff?
I'm not sure. He might be having Baron, actually.
I'm gonna just go like that. I'm gonna check in. It doesn't have Baron, so yeah, that's gonna take forever for him to push it. And up top lane, it looks like a brute force siege. I mean, it's Tristana. And she'll get it. There comes the teleport though. Tristana immediately jumps away, but the ult still hits, and it's going to kill Memento. Almost, Memento actually survives, and Hatrix now is dead going down. That's a huge misplay coming out. Hatrix already dead. The wombo combo been used, but it only was used on Father Memento. Norscan now is gonna get caught. Actually flashes, hits Civis, but can they take this fight? Gonna come in from the side. It's Big Fat and Black. He wants to finish it, but he doesn't have the damage to do it. The shield was absolutely amazing from Hustling Beast. Shutdowns all over the place, and all of a sudden the Swedish team is back in the game. There's no gold lead now. They had Baron. They're gonna be able to push with this, and wow, Slam also might even die from this. Something keeps chasing him. Really needs to just a little bit more damage to get it. He has the attack speed, he has the attack movement speed, I mean, and he will be able to get it. And that might also be a turret. But wow, these are two huge throws coming out from Norway all of a sudden. That tower dive was also completely unnecessary.
Yeah, yet again we see the Norwegian team just overreaching. Like they're going for too much at the same time. They maybe felt a bit forced because Flashes was starting to reach the turret, and they felt like we can make this play happen, and they got punished for it really hard as they were tunnel visioning on killing down the Lee Sin that was no longer a threat. If he's 1 HP, you can leave him, let him go base, and focus on the targets, but instead they used the Malphite ulti and the Yasuo ulti to try and finish off a Lee Sin that doesn't even die, and then they don't have that combo anymore, and they just get overrun.
My problem is that if you're in the lead and you have the late game comp and you get an inhib and the enemy team gets a Baron, that is totally fine. It's okay because you're still gonna have an open inhibitor to go get almost any time you want because you're already in the lead and you're not gonna fall behind if you simply just don't make a mistake. And then after doing that huge mistake, forcing a fight down bot lane, they still go and they try to brute force turret down top lane because they feel like, okay, so we have to do this now because Flaxish is pushing down bot lane and the inhibitor is gonna spawn about the same time as the enemy team's Baron buff disappears, so the advantage is still gonna be like ±0, and then they try to brute force a fight.
Yeah.
That's like the worst decision you can make in that situation.
Yeah, for sure, because the reason why it's so good to trade Baron for inhib is because the team that gets the inhib has full control of the pace of the game. You can use that inhib and basically get Vision wherever you want, and you can control where the enemy team goes because you're gonna be deciding like the pace of the game basically. And yes, forcing too much twice now gets really punished, and they're not in the lead anymore, and we're looking at a really close game.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now, we see Flaxish getting back into the game, getting a lot of gold. We see Civis now and Zamba dealing so much more damage than they did before. Zamba actually been a little bit under the radar, is at 615 with almost 100 more CS than Tristana has. Big Fat and Black really, for some reason, I guess it's giving Hatrix all of the gold that has cost the rest of the carries this much, because right now Big Fat and Black looking like small, fat, and sort of white right now.
Yeah, he's definitely far behind Lucian, and the Lucian is getting really scary. And once you start looking at these items, you also see Vladimir having a huge lead on the Malphite. And Vladimir is one of those champions that scales so well. He's gonna be such a big threat to the enemy team because they don't have that much to deal with a late game Vladimir.
I still feel like when you have a Tristana for late game, actually I felt like this before I noticed how far behind Tristana actually was, but still, you can just kite back. You don't have to all in because you can always try to kite back. You can protect your ADC. If your ADC outranges the enemy team, you can always have that poke ability to just be backing off, out-attacking and backing. But now, looking at it, it's all in Hatrix's hands. If he dies, the team has no damage output anymore. And it's actually, right now, I feel going sort of defensive in his items.
Yeah, he did went for that Sterak's Gauge, which gives him a bit more survivability. He has a lot of HP, and he also gets the shield if they try to burst him.
But I don't want him to be the survivor. I want him to either simply going for a huge bombo combo, burst all the enemy damage dealers, and that's it. or I want to see Tristana instead being that long-term fighter. Right now I feel Yasuo trying to be both, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And also looking at the Tristana build, we see her going for Essence Reaver into Phantom Dancer, which is kind of weird in my opinion. I don't see it so far working out, and it just feels like she's lacking a lot of damage.
I feel playing the way they did before, like going a little bit sort of like a pick comp. They went for those small skirmishes and they got a lot of potential for Tristana to just jump around all the time. Sure, I'm sort of okay with Essence Reaver, but going for long-term game, the Infinity Edge gonna be so much slower right now. Tristana, the synergy, when Infinity Edge hits, that's gonna be huge, but before that, it's gonna be sort of useless.
The reason I'm so conflicted about this build is just because if you look at Lucian, the reason Essence Reaver is so good is because cooldown reduction is so worth it for him. While you look at Tristana, she doesn't really need it.
It's
like,
true. It's true.
she doesn't need that cooldown reduction for any of her abilities, really. So it's basically a lot of wasted stats that she could have just gone for straight on more damage, which, in my opinion, probably would have won in a lot of team fights.
Definitely, yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of champions, like we talked about earlier tonight, that Infinite Edge used to be standard for a lot of ADCs, and now instead you can go for Essence Reaver. Well, yes, you can. That doesn't mean that you have to go for Essence Reaver, because right now I feel like Big Fat and Black said, okay, Essence Reaver, that's the new item. All new items are awesome and overpowered. Let's buy that new item.
I think I would have liked to see him just go for an early pickaxe and BF sword for that early damage, and then after that just run straight into Shiv. Finish that Shiv, and then you can decide to finish Infinity Edge for that extra crit damage. And after that, maybe even a rapid fire cannon wouldn't be that too bad on Tristana.
No, definitely. I mean, if they want to siege, and I don't see why they wouldn't want to siege, and there's a ward in that bush, and they didn't clear it.
That's
I just had to point that out because I'm like, yeah, it's a small OCD I have. Like, it's a ward, you have to clear it, dude. You should know. Okay. But yeah, that's gonna be staying around, and we see a total different pace in the game right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Norwegian team got pretty scared after they realized, hey guys, we just lost 2 team fights in a row. They're a bit scared to pull the trigger. They don't really want to start the team fights anymore, and that's pretty bad for them. Actually.
It is bad, although I still feel like Sweden should not let them try to get Big Fat and Black back into the game. I want them to realize that, oh my god, the enemy team's ADC is so far behind. We should totally go for fights right now. This is actually the situation where we have an advantage. And I really would like them to do that. Right now I feel like Sweden are just stalling, and I don't really believe in it.
Oh, might see.
Oh, it's...
yes, fight for Gromp.
It's a Gromp fight. But yeah, this might be it. Follow Memento trying to force something, getting cocooned in the face, and that's a good lantern once again. Norskjön has been playing really well this game. But of course, so has Hustling Beast as well. These shields have always been there. Dragon going down. No reaction at all coming out from Finland. And a flash now from Flaxich. Gonna keep chasing hat-tricks. If they can get him, it's huge. But it's also a huge risk for them. He's going in. He's going to get the knockup. That's a lot of damage. Actually, it's not a lot of damage at all. Southbet going with half HP. And now they're gonna have to fight without their mid lane. A Big Fat and Black on the side, all from the Memento. But here on the middle, also Norskjön going down while they're trying to kite away. Big Fat and Black finally gets that kill on Follow Memento, who went a little bit too deep. But that's 2 for 1. And yes, the Swedish comeback is absolutely real.
Yeah, definitely. I think this ended up being a pretty good catch by Flaxich, actually, realizing he has to realize and seeing that Yasuo is split from his team on the bot side, just flash, using his Q on him. Oh, and now we do see them go for Baron.
Wow, Sweden now! They really want this comeback, and they might be able to get it. Getting Baron now, going from being so behind, now getting Baron, now winning team fights all of a sudden. And, I mean, Hatrix, who used to be the huge damage dealer, simply bursting everything, he got that 3-man ult, even though it was 1 versus 5, still 3-man ult, and it did almost nothing.
Yeah, just didn't have the damage, the time to get any damage out, and now they're gonna be behind, and I don't really see them doing too much in these team fights. Vladimir is starting to reach that point where he's just super scary, and with their current damage output, I don't see them dealing with their team comp.
What my absolute biggest worry is right now is that Norway gave all that gold over to Hatrix to be the huge damage dealer, to be the wombo combo. Flax is now getting a little bit caught, but you know what? That's not even gonna hurt him. And I mean, Flax doesn't have any armor, but Hatrix still doesn't deal any damage to him.
Yeah, he has kind of a bunch of HP and a lot of spell land, so unless they manage to burst down the Vladimir, he can stay in these fights for a really long time.
Yeah, but Hatrix were supposed to be able to burst down the enemy team. And right now, even if Slemp manages to land a 5-man ult, or at least a huge ult onto Corki, Lucian and Vladimir at the same time, I still don't believe they're going to die.
Yeah,
Because of the build of Hatrix.
yeah, that too. You can definitely feel it in both Tristanas and
Oh, Civis, that's huge though. Civis getting caught. An ult being used, but no follow-up now. Civis going down. Hustling Beast trying to tank it up. And from the side, now Norskin trying to get another hook. Flash in the middle of the team. Hatrix now getting the ult, but only onto Sampa. No damage being dealt, and Hatrix has to back up. Flaxish now, though, has died. Big Fat and Black manages to carry it home, getting those kills. And Sweden, looking at all of those so low Norwegian players, must feel so bad about that. We see Sampa getting away, and he will, of course, be able to survive that. But 1 versus 5, he really can't defend it, and he has nowhere to push, nothing to set up against this.
Yeah, and that fight being so chaotic, you're seeing Norskin letting a good hook onto Civis. But even though they went in, even with the Malphite ulti, Hatrix wasn't in range to follow up with ulti, but they still managed to pick the 1 kill up that really helped them and gave Big Fat and Black that reset. And they just managed to pick people off and win the team fight.
But this was my big worry, because they really let Big Fat and Black get back into the game. When this fight started, he all of a sudden had his Infinity Edge, and the synergy and the power spike was huge. Sharp now, getting caught out. Hatrix tries to turn it back, using a really great wind wall, but he's not the only one with a wall. Of course, Hustling Beast is there, and he will be able to tank it all up. That's another kill. 3 men down, and this is so much back and forth. Sweden, what will they do? They still have the Baron buff on Sampe, and they still can try to go for something here.
That was still so good for the Norwegian team, getting these 2 inhibs. It all comes down to what can the Swedish team get from this, but looking at there's still the tier 3 turret down on bot side, they won't be able to even get the inhib turret, which will be massive trouble for them, because with 2 inhibs down, that should really enable the Norwegians to now push on top side and just wait for the other 2 lanes to push in.
Norway really should be able to take this home now if they don't make the same mistake as they did earlier. They have to be much more patient. But again, I mean, that was also an overcommit, staying down bot side, getting caught out. Again, there are a lot of back and forths going on in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And as it is, and we see a catch on Flaxish.
Good on Flaxish. Big Fat and Black dealing so much damage now. All of a sudden, Hustling Beast not turning it back, but Glacial Fissure missing. Big Fat and Black a little bit prematurely using that Quicksilver. Energy Sharp about to get caught. Will use Flash to get away. Will not get caught right now. And Flaxish taking a lot of damage once again. Here comes Hatrix. Flashes tries to avoid the damage. Manages to avoid that hook, but will not be able to get away. And now the ult comes out. Hatrix onto Hustling Beast. Doesn't even care about the shield. And Sampen now tries to get away. A misplayed flash there. Civis inside of that bush, going 1 versus 1 with Big Fat and Black. That ult will be enough, I think. A really good back from Komod coming up from Father Memento will actually be able to get that shutdown, and Sampe going around getting the double kill. Hatrix was way out of position, kept chasing Sampe, and Sampe could actually get back in time to help his team finish off both Big Fat and Black and Sharp. No, actually, and Norsgren, I mean.
Yeah, and
Slam now.
Almost gets the interrupt. But what we see here is just Big Fat and Black being a bit greedy, as Malphite, or just a misplay actually, as Malphite and Yasuo were chasing somebody. Big Fat and Black jumps in, he was jumping into the bush to get that pick onto Corki. And as he did this, the rest of the Swedish players just managed to group up and trade those kills and get 2 kills for it.
Yeah, they get 2 kills, but they lose on Nexus turret.
The good thing, I still think this is good for the Swedes though, because what happened is that a lot of the downtime on these inhibs are gone now. So if they manage to stall enough time to have the inhibs back, and we see them going back to winning these team fights, then they might just end up winning the game.
And we see now Actually, this is a really hard decision to make, I would say, for Norway, because they're going for Dragon right now. They really want to have this 4th Dragon, because if they get the 5th in 6 minutes, that will be able to help them close the game. But I don't think they need to do it. They can simply just stall it out right now. They don't need the Dragon. They should just go top lane, stall it out, and let Sweden try to defend it versus 3. But they're going in for this onto Flaxish. Hatrix is there, but he dies before Flaxish does, although the jump is there, and NDG Sharp finally manages to get him. And now finally we see Norway going for that top turret. See the pings coming out from the Swedish team. They want to defend it, but can they? Meanwhile, bot lane, there are super creeps pushing in, and I think Sweden will have to go for the all-in right now.
Yeah, we'll see. It kind of depends on if they decide to stick around for this push here. We might see them going back to top side after taking this reb off now, if they see enough people going bot. But this was, again, they're wasting their inhibs that they got. They really need to use this and go top lane to get this last inhibitor.
Absolutely, I mean, they have Tristana, they have a Quicksilver Sash onto her. They can go on that last turret and inhibitor, but they won't.
I mean, the Swedish team will be really happy with trading 1-for-1 in this situation as their inhibs are just respawning.
Baron, of course, up as well. Swedish team, though, managed to push out quite a bit before it spawned. They are ready if Norway wants to go for it. And going for Baron right now from Norway, when the waves are pushing like this and inhibitor's about to spawn, it could be the throw off the game. That could be what is going to lose the game.
I think we will see the big team fight here. Both teams can't let this Baron go.
But Flaxish will have to teleport to be able to get in. Using teleport now is a little bit too late. Might be, not sure. Huston is taking the front lane. Using a very early shield right now. Will not have it up to avoid all the damage. Flaxish now still tanking up. Baron about to go down. Who will get it? That will be huge. The blue team be able to go for the fight, still onto it. All of that AoE damage is there, but Norway getting out on top. Getting that Baron was huge for the fight, who was going to be forced. Inhibitors has respawned, but no one really cares about it. This will be finishing the game. No one died in the Norwegian team, and only Civis is there left to try to defend it. If he manages to defend this, it will be absolutely a miracle.
Yeah, and as they got the Baron as well, and there's only one Nexus turret, it's gonna be... It's really gonna need a miracle to hold on to this game.
Yeah, I'm really not sure will he be able to do it. He will try at least, but the ult is up again. He at least gets Norsken. Everyone are still so low, but these 15 seconds will not be enough versus this. GG calls Norway, and they will stay the kings of Nordic. And that was a game.
That was quite a final. I mean, it was a really back and forth game. We see both teams making oversteps and overreaches and kind of giving the other team the lead and the edge, and then just bringing it back. And it was really entertaining to watch, considering how back and forth it was.
Definitely. And wow, I mean, I don't know what to say. I really did believe in Sweden, but that last fight was so huge and so important. But it's a really hard position to try to fight in, and it's all about who gets the Baron as well.
Yeah, I think the big problem for them, I was looking at this replay here, is that they got stuck in the Baron pit while Baron was attacking them, and Tristana managed to just attack Flaxish as the Baron is aggroing him as well. Just losing a lot of HP, and then they can just take the big team fight with the Yasuo, and Malphite just wombo combo. Just taking it home.
I think my problem with Sweden right there is that they weren't really sure what they wanted to do. A part of them just simply wanted to get Baron first and then try to force a fight, but another part of them really wanted, or rather really needed, to get that all in when the enemy team were just all caught out in the Baron pit. But I think Norway handled it really well too. They backed out just the perfect timing to not lose Baron, but still have the threat around it, and still not getting into that really bad position around Baron pit.
Yeah, and that ended up being quite funny to watch, because it got into such an awkward position, because when they disengaged, after a while the Swedish team, after being in the Baron pit for 2 seconds, were like, oh hey, the Baron is 2k HP, and they tried to get it, and then the Norwegians are like, oh hey, okay, we have to go for this, and then it's basically like the 50-50 on who's gonna get it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it ends up going to Yasuo.
Actually, yeah.
And,
Hatrix manages to steal it, or rather, just sneak it off. And again, I'm both happy because I'm a big Tristana player. I really love this champion, but I'm so annoyed that Sweden actually let Big Fat and Black get back into the game simply just by farming.
Yeah, I mean, at the point we only had 2 items that were pretty not damage efficient.
Yeah.
That's when we started to see them make the comebacks, and they could have probably pulled through harder by denying him more and just keep on pushing and using the lead or like getting back into the game because they started winning these team fights and used Flaxish more with the allies he had just to catch out more people.
Absolutely. I mean, Sweden were behind for most part of this game. And then at one point when they managed to get Baron and the Norwegian team manages to make a lot of mistakes at the same time, all of a sudden the Norwegian team realized that we're not as far ahead as we thought we were. But we will be because we still have the Tristana. We will be able to get to that point. We can just chill back, keep farming, and then we're going to continue this ride because we already got the inhibitor. It's open. And Sweden didn't realize this. They didn't realize that Norway didn't want to fight, and they started to farming too. And you can't really try to out-farm this sort of composition that Norway had. That was my big problem with it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like they did something with the resources they had. I mean, they could have definitely used it a lot more, but at the same time, they did manage to get the thing. They did manage to get this comeback after being so far behind, which was pretty impressive to watch. I'm not sure how much they were behind at one point, but with the disadvantage they have in map pressure and everything, just making that comeback was pretty big and making it really interesting.
Definitely, but you know what? That was tonight's games, and we got still. I was gonna say we got a new winner, but we don't. We have the same old winner. We got Norway still on the throne for next week. So let's hear it for Norway and their national anthem.
Crickets.
And once again, congratulations, Norway, to the second win in a row. And I'm so glad that you have been here with me. I mean, what you've been providing, it's totally awesome.
It's been a lot of fun co-casting, actually. It's the first time I do this, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been fun.
And we had good games tonight as well, so it was a good night to cast. It wasn't one of those, 80-minute games where just people simply just push one turret and then back off and then try to push something else. It was a really back and forth game.
Yeah, for sure. And there were different highlights in each game, and you could definitely see different kind of strategies and how the teams used different strengths in different games. And yeah, it was an enjoyable 3 games to cast.
Definitely. And Loey, what do you think?
I think that these games were pumped as hell. Jesus Christ, the energy coming from both the casters and the players in these games, it was amazing, especially in the final. We have this super amazing final where they're fighting for the throne with all they have. Especially in that Baron pit when everything went down. It was the bloody arena that we want to see in this King of Nordic Viking brawl. But don't forget to follow us, show some love to us Vikings sitting here working, providing content to you so that you will be able to see whenever we provide new content, whenever we stream. If you follow us, you will also be able to win skins on our CSGO stream on Fridays. And I think this will be the end of the production, pretty much.
And we will actually, it seems like we will have a pause next week. And we got this girl because of DreamHack. Of course. So you're not going to see us next week. You're going to see us next week after that. So don't worry, we will not go anywhere technically. And that was it. Wow, that was quick. We don't even got any music. Do we have any music? I really want some music right now too, because it's awkward. Yes,
There we
thank
go.
you.
There we go.
Here we can dance. This we can dance too. Thank you so much everyone for watching. My name is Sag. This is Bardogs. This girl is not important at all. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great time at DreamHack, and I hope to see you there. Have a pleasant evening.
Goodbye!
So.
Esports Power Play.